Chapter 441. The bloodline awakening of the 6 spirit beasts lasted for 2 hours. Because the array formation had already started operating, Guopao only needed to spend some energy to stabilize the array formation. Thus, he was able to relax. However, after another 2 hours, Guopao's face turned somewhat ugly. Originally, when the bloodline awakening of Tiger 2, Gorilla 4, and Leopard 5 was about to fail, unexpectedly, it was driven by the bloodline power of the other 3 spirit beasts and began to awaken again. This made Guopai faintly feel a trace of ominous omen. Rumble! Thunder rumbled in the sky. Guopai could not help but shrink his head. Bear 3 and Wolf 6 were the first to complete the bloodline awakening. They were no longer simple spirit beasts. If it was purely a competition of strength, they were comparable to the masters of the enlightening period. What's the meaning of this? Why don't you stop after the bloodline awakening? You are actually absorbing the power of heaven more fiercely. You are courting death. Guopai suddenly felt that more moonlight gathered in the array. Guopai could not help but shout loudly. At this time, the 6 spirit beasts had all completed the bloodline awakening. Futaba, come out quickly. I have something to say to these guys. They don't understand what I am saying. Guopai hurriedly shouted at the treasure room, but Futaba did not have any movement. Guopai was completely dumbfounded. Damn it, where's Monkey? Go and call Monkey Sun over. I remember that before the mind-reading sage ascended to the heaven realm, he had always followed Monkey Sunday. After his ascension, Monkey Sun also took good care of him. Didn't Monkey Sun tell the mind-reading sage that he should stop using the heaven-seizing power? Above the Moon Palace, Chang'e shouted at Wu Gang. Boss, this matter has nothing to do with me. When I first started to practice, I told him to pay attention when using the power of heaven. Who knew that he would be so crazy today? Before Wu Gang went to find Sun Wukong, Sun Wukong had already appeared in the Moon Palace. He looked at the situation on Fire Cloud Island with a serious face. We can't hide it. We definitely can't hide it. That fellow must have found out. I wonder, will he care? Chang'e said, shaking her head. Suddenly, a coercive atmosphere of power descended upon the Moon Palace. Since you're here, then come out. He's one of my people. It's just some heaven-seizing power. That thing is useless to you. Why don't you just let this kid torment the human world once? Chang, he said with a smile. Fairy, your actions are a bit excessive. Since I've come here, I'm giving you face. You can deal with your own people. An old voice said to Chang, Humph, this is called giving me face. Old man Hongjun, are you going to continue watching me make a fool of myself? Chang, he shouted towards the void, and Hongjun Ancestor also appeared in the Moon Palace. God, just because the human world calls you master, you really think you're master. Both of us have the power of the 18th layer heaven. Can't the 2 of us protect a kid in the human world? Hongjun, do you want to get involved in this matter? The old voice rang out again. I don't care. I don't care if he's not mine. However, I think I should give you face. Why don't I give you 2 more hours? If the 6 little fellows can successfully transform, it can be considered as their opportunity. How about it? Hongjun Ancestor said with a smile. Then I'll give you face. 2 more hours it is. The old voice rang out again. Chang'e's face did not look good at all. Guopai naturally did not know what was going on in the Moon Palace. The 6 spirit beasts were going all out to attack the transformation stage. Guopai needed to invest more and more of his divine sense into the array formation. After about half an hour, Guopai had completely integrated himself into the array formation. The 6 spirit beasts could only succeed. Failure was not an option. Otherwise, even if Guopai did not die, he would be seriously injured. Bastard, you are willing to take such a big risk for a few beasts. It seems that you have lived too comfortably in the human world. However, you have not done anything for me. If you die like this, I will lose too much. Chang, he gnashed her teeth and said. Wu Gang beside her could not help but shrink his head. He knew his boss's temper. If this mind-reading sage did not die this time, his boss would teach him a lesson when he ascended to the heaven realm. Hongjun Ancestor, you have given me so much time. Since everyone is here today, shouldn't you return the monkey's things to him? Sun Wukong walked to Hong Jun ancestor and said with a smile, I don't know what the victorious fighting Buddha is talking about. You don't seem to have left anything with me. Hong Jun ancestor said with a smile, let's not beat around the bush. I know my origin. I have no father and mother. I jumped out from the crack of stone. Back then, I was indebted to Master Bodhi who taught me martial arts. Then, I followed Golden Cicada to walk the path of merit. That's how I got my current cultivation. Although I have no father and mother, shouldn't I return the rootless stone that gave birth to me? Sun Wukong was not in a hurry and said with a smile, it turns out that the victorious fighting Buddha is talking about the rootless stone. That day, I made a bet with Bodhi, and he lost the rootless stone to me. Today, if you want it, you should ask your master for it. Hong Jun ancestor said while stroking his beard, Ancestor, what you said is meaningless. That day, you made a bet with my master, and there should be another agreement. If I reach the 12th layer of heaven in the future, this rootless stone will be returned to me. Sun Wukong looked at Hong Jun ancestor and said, Monkey, you also know our agreement. You have to reach the 12th layer of heaven before you can take away this rootless stone. However, I'm afraid your current strength is still some distance away from the 12th layer of heaven. Hong Jun ancestor looked at the situation in the mortal world and said with a smile, since ancestor agrees to this bet, then come in and take away my rootless stone. After Sun Wukong finished speaking, he took out the Jingu Bang in his hand. Then, the Jingu Bang danced in the Moon Palace. Chong, he flicked her sleeve and set up a taboo in the space where Sun Wukong was. 10 strong iron rules, the origin of strength. I, Sun Wukong, have completely comprehended the Tao of strength. I'll use this Tao of strength to verify the origin. Sun Wukong roared and smashed the Jingu Bang fiercely at the taboo set up by Chani. The originally unbreakable taboo was shattered by Sun Wukong. Wu Gang, who was not far away, watched with wide eyes. Immortal Erlang, Yang Jian, who was meditating in his mansion, also appeared in the Moon Palace. Yang Jian, Monkey has verified the origin. We won't be able to beat him in the future. Wu Gang whispered. Yang Jian nodded. Wu Gang, Yang Jian, and Sun Wukong were the most likely to break through the 12th layer of the Heavenly Palace. After Sun Wukong verified the origin, the final balance was broken. Ha, little Wukong, no, it should be the great sage, heaven's equal, victorious fighting Buddha. Congratulations, ha ha ha. Chong, he laughed and said. Hong Jun ancestor frowned and waved his hand. A stone that didn't look like a treasure appeared in front of everyone. Fairy, so you're playing a big game of chess. 2 hours are up. What's in the matter of Monkey here? I'm going to cut off the power of seizing the heavens. The old voice sounded again. Cut off the power of seizing the heavens. Mind Reader will definitely die. If that's the case, then let me ring the bell of chaos to send him on his way. With that, a big bell appeared in Chong-Yi's hand. The group of people widened their eyes. Chong-Yi, I'll give him 2 more hours. Quickly put this thing away. The old voice sounded again, but Chong-Yi's sleeve had already knocked on the bell of chaos. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Chong. He narrowed her eyes and looked at Hong Jun ancestor and the person in the void. You all said that I care about my face the most. You want to bully a woman like me after seeing Monkey Breakthrough? You're going too far. Chapter 442. Wong, Wong, Wong. The bell of chaos rang again. Monkey had been shaken by the bell of chaos and fainted. Hong Jun ancestor took out his magic weapon and blocked the sound wave from the bell of chaos. God blocked the sound wave with the power of seizing the heavens. The bell of chaos was effective for the masters of origin, but it had no effect on others. After the bell of chaos rang 3 times, Chong, he put away the bell of chaos. If you want to take back the power of seizing the heavens, take it back. I don't care. Chong, he finished speaking and pulled the unconscious Sun Wukong into the Moon Palace. Futaba, if you don't come out, I will be finished. God watched Chong, he go back. He had suffered a loss just now, so naturally, he couldn't say anything. He directly cut off the power of seizing the heavens. The moonlight in the human world suddenly dimmed. Guopai felt the change in the moonlight and shouted loudly. Why did Sister suddenly lose her temper? It must be those old guys who annoyed Sister again. Yuer looked at the moon and said softly. She still didn't know Guopai's situation. You greedy guys, the moonlight is gone. You can't complete the transformation. I can't continue to control the formation for you. Guopai roared and was about to withdraw his divine sense. At the same time, Futaba rushed out of the cave and stuffed 6 9-colored elixirs into the mouths of 6 half-transformed spirit beasts. My lord, just withdraw your divine sense. They won't die. Futaba said loudly to Guopai. Guopai withdrew his divine sense, spat out a mouthful of blood, and fainted directly. At the last moment of fainting, Guopai couldn't help but curse. Damn it! Nothing had happened to him since he came to the human world. On this island, he had fainted twice. After that, Guopai's originally formed Shudan shattered again. This time, the cultivation of the late Xiantian realm was gone. The instant Guopai fainted, Yuer, who had been thinking about the lunar palace, felt a sharp pain in her chest. A sweet taste suddenly appeared in her mouth. Yuer forced back a mouthful of essence blood. Something happened to Bad Guy Bro. Where is he? Could it be that Big Sister is so angry because of Brother Bad Guy? Yuer said in her heart. She popped a pill in her mouth and sat cross-legged. After about an hour, a trace of color slowly returned to her face. However, Guopai wasn't so lucky. On Firecloud Island, he was unconscious for a total of 49 days. Finally, on the morning of the 50th day, he slowly opened his eyes. The originally lazy Futaba immediately jumped up. My lord, you're awake. You're finally awake. Futaba shouted excitedly. What about those guys? Are they all right? Guopai asked softly. They're fine. They're all at the back of the mountain in human form. This time, it's all thanks to my lord. My lord has given them a new lease of life. Futaba said emotionally. This time, he had followed the right person. My lord had just woken up, but he didn't care about his own safety. He was still thinking about the 6 spirit beasts. Actually, Futaba naturally didn't understand the meaning behind Guopai's question. F*CK. He had been tricked by those 6 beasts. If those guys were dead, then so be it. But if they weren't dead, yours truly would definitely teach them a lesson when he recovered. However, Futaba didn't understand Guopai at all. Gorilla 4, my lord has woken up. Go and call the remaining 5 over. Futaba saw the figure of Gorilla 4 not far away and shouted to the gorilla. The gorilla was stunned for a moment before disappearing into the forest. About 2 minutes later, the entire mountain was in an uproar. All kinds of birds and beasts were running all over the place. The ones that came to Guopai's side weren't 6 spirit beasts, but 6 burly men. Although they couldn't be considered handsome, they were still passable. Put on your clothes. Put on your clothes first. Yours truly doesn't care about bodies like yours. Guopai's face was filled with black lines as he shouted at the 6 men. Only now did he know that he was in trouble. He couldn't open the gourd, and he didn't even have the strength of a late-stage Xiantian master. When the 6 men heard Guopai's voice, they ran back to the back of the mountain. About 10 minutes later, the 6 men returned in front of Guopai. Clothes, it could be considered clothes. Tiger had a tiger's skin draped over his body, and the one with the bear skin was undoubtedly Bear 3. The one that Guopai couldn't accept the most was Leopard 5. The leopard skin on his body seemed to have just been removed, and it was still dripping with blood. However, this was still much better than the 6 naked men. Thank you, my lord, for your grace of rebirth. The 6 burly men uniformly knelt in front of Guopai and said loudly, Get up. This is all your own destiny. However, when the moonlight disappeared, how did you complete your final transformation? Guopai couldn't help but ask. Little Monkey got up and jumped onto Huda's shoulder. He beamed with joy as he told Guopai about the situation at that time. Guopai gently nodded his head. These 6 guys were really too lucky. Guopai could also refine the form transformation pill, but if he wanted to help a guy who had just awakened his bloodline to transform, the ordinary form transformation pill was simply not enough. These 6 guys were really lucky. Futaba found a gourd in the treasure room. Inside it, There were 6 peerless form transformation pills which solved the urgent needs of the 6 guys, allowing them to transform successfully. Dog shit luck, really dog shit luck, or 6 bastards stepped on dog shit together and got lucky. Guopai secretly said in his heart. However, he couldn't say it out loud. He directly shouted for the 6 men to get up. With his current strength, it was impossible for him to break through the array and return to Bugyaku. He can only stay on the island for now. Brother Mo, it's already been a year. Is there still no news of Brother Guopai's whereabouts? This year's Ivan auction is about to start again. I still want to invite you guys to continue to be guests. Vittorio knew about Guopai through some special channels. The main reason he called Mo Beifong was to contact Guopai again to ask for a few more pills. The Japanese spent $6 billion to buy a snow mussel pill. After a year, together with many Chinese medicine experts in Korea, they analyzed the ingredients of the pill. The results surprised everyone. Although the ingredients were precious, no matter how they combined the ingredients to refine it, they couldn't find a substitute. In the end, it ended in failure. Raphael, is there still no news of the Huaxia? In the United States of America, the Bishop of the Dark Church asked Raphael. Guopai's plane encountered an accident. The little girl and another Huaxia on the plane survived. Guopai has been missing for a year. I'm afraid he's already dead. Raphael said softly, and the guy who destroyed my angel's sword. We sent a lot of people to Huaxia, but this person also seems to have disappeared. If I hadn't seen both of them, I would have suspected that they were the same person. Dead? Stupid. All of you will die. But he won't die. Get out of here. There's nothing for you to do here. A powerful pressure appeared on Raphael and the bishop, and the two of them ran away as if they were running for their lives. This pill has the smell of Samadhi true fire. Taishang Lao Jun. When did Taishang Lao Jun start to intervene in the affairs of the human world? A man in black appeared in the hall of the Dark Church and said to himself, no matter who intervenes in the affairs of the human world, it's impossible to stop the great demon from rising again. 5 elements primordial umbrella, fire cloud, demon slaying portrait, water repelling pearl, Vajra demon subduing ring, perfected Lord fire cloud. I'll take these items. Since you can't possibly go down to the lower realm to retrieve them, I'll give you half of them when I return to the heavenly realm. After staying on the island for 3 months, Guopai once again broke through the Xiantian realm and entered the enlightening period. Then, with the help of 6 spiritual beasts that had successfully transformed, he opened the treasure room and looted it. Good karma. Good karma. This old man doesn't have to worry about those things on Fire Cloud Island anymore. Just as Guopai and his group of 7 people and 1 monkey opened the seal of Fire Cloud Island, a voice came from the mansion of Fire Cloud Supreme, who had been in seclusion for 10,000 years. Fire Cloud Supreme had come out. When will Daddy come home? A 1-year-old girl was playing behind you in Bugyaku. After playing for a while, she was tired and sat on a stool and asked softly, Little Ming Ming, Daddy will come back soon. It wasn't a good mood today because she felt that the big bad guy was fine and was coming back. Chapter 443. On the surface of the sea, a quaint ship was sailing in the Pacific Ocean. During this period, they encountered several waves of pirates. Guopai did not make a move. The 6 big men on the ship let them see what real pirates were. Originally, there was nothing in the cabin, but now it was full. Huda, look at how I look in this dress. It's much better than the one just now, right? Huda looked at Huda and asked. Huda nodded. Huda directly changed into a set of sailor clothes that he had taken from the pirates and put them on himself. Grandpa, I'm out of danger. I'm trying to find a way to go back. I can't tell you the exact location now, but it should still be in the Pacific Ocean. Can you see if you can find my location through the satellite phone and send someone to pick us up? Guopai snatched a satellite phone from the pirate ship. Before it was broken by the big men, he made a call to Guo Shenhua. Good. It's good that you're fine. Don't move your ship. I'll contact the military to pick you up. Guo Yuan hadn't seen his grandson for more than a year. Although he didn't say anything, he was very worried. If it weren't for his great-granddaughter chattering in front of him every day, the old man might not have been able to hold on. Grandpa, it's best if you can recruit some of your own people. Some things are easier to explain. Guo Pai added. Guo Shanwan naturally understood what he meant. After hanging up the phone, he directly contacted the Dragon King. The Dragon King directly sent people from the Tyrannosaurus Rex group to get a warship from the Huaxian Navy and rush towards Guo Pai's location. I'll tell the 6 of you again. You are now humans. From now on, follow this bad master. You have to learn all the things I taught you. You can't make trouble. If anyone dares to disobey, I'll throw you back to the island. Today was the 3rd time the little monkey told the big guys the rules. Futaba, there's no need to explain to them. They've already done a good job. Guo Pai said with a smile. He threw 6 pills to the 6 big men. The 6 of them almost knelt down to Guo Pai again, but looking at Guo Pai's eyes, they sat down on the stools. Futaba, there's one thing you must remember. Do not speak when there are outsiders. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. Guo Pai said with a smile. The little monkey nodded. Futaba also ate a form transformation pill. However, in his words, it was completely useless. Guo Pai was also very curious about this matter. However, if he wanted to know the answer, he would have to wait until he returned to the heavenly court to ask the great sage. Speaking of great sage Sun, he was now soaking in a pool in the Moon Palace. Because of the Bell of Chaos, he had been soaking in it for a few hours, but there were no signs of him waking up. Look at the 2 of you. One of you only knows how to chop down osmanthus trees with a broken axe every day. The other one only knows how to walk his dog when he has nothing to do. Let me tell you, I'll give you 3,000 years. If your strength can't break through the 12th layer of heaven, then I'll banish you to the mortal world. When that time comes, you can go find that bastard. Yang Jian, take care of your howling celestial dog. I don't want to eat dog meat recently. Don't mess with me. Humph, I've been scolding you for a long time. You 2 stay here and look after the monkey. When he wakes up, bring him to see me. Chang'e said and disappeared beside the pool. The 2 big men breathed a sigh of relief. The monkey has broken through the 12th layer of heaven. Boss is going to reorganize the Dark Knight army. Wu Gang thought for a moment and said softly. Yang Jian stared and nodded. Yu received a call from Guo Pai and sighed softly. The big bad guy was finally coming back. Not long after the news that Guo Pai was going home, many people who were related to Guo Pai had already received the news. For a time, many people in the capital and Wu Castle became active. Damn, 4th brother is really troublesome. For more than a year, I thought he died outside. Jia Yuan sighed and said. Liao shook his head with a smile. Wang Sheng drank tea leisurely, as if he did not hear what Jia Yuan said. 4th brother will die? I'm afraid that even if we all die, 4th brother will not die. Wang Sheng said with a smile. Big brother, you said that 4th brother has changed a lot since the car accident. Sometimes I wonder if the 4th brother in front of me is our 4th brother from back then. Liao still did not speak. He had this feeling for a long time, but it did not matter whether it was 4th brother or not. Now 4th brother called them brother and took good care of them. It's good that brother bad guy is fine. Yezi, we're about to graduate from high school. Do you think we should go to college? Tang, she said with a smile. If you want to go to college, go to college. I won't go. I will go to Bugyaku. If I don't follow big bad guy, it will be too late when he has a lot of wives and concubines. So Yi said to Tang Shi. Shameless. Little Yezi, I still remember that when you first met brother bad guy, you didn't get along well with him. How did you become like this now? Tang, she said with a smile. I am like this now. Do whatever you want. Anyway, I will go find big bad guy. Before we left school, he promised us that we will go find him after we graduate from high school. He will arrange everything for us. So Yi said with a smile. The 2 girls laughed again. President, there is news about Guo Pai. He will probably arrive in the capital in 2 days. In a luxurious office, a girl in a uniform said to another girl who was reading a document. Jingjing, didn't I tell you? Just call me Ling Ling when there's no one around. I already know about Guo Xiao's matter. Cancel all the meetings for the next 2 days. Tell the people in charge of each position to make arrangements for their departments. I'm going to the capital, Sun Ling Ling said and stood up. Come with me. Haven't you always wanted to see what kind of man I dream of? Sun Ling Ling graduated from high school and directly took over the first assets won by Guo Pai at Wu Castle. Now, Wu Castle Group had become the biggest taxpayer in Wu Castle. Jia Yuan's Yuan International had shifted the focus of its business overseas. The money earned through the special ability martial art competition had made Jia Yuan famous. Elders, our head is back. You can go back and have a good rest these days. We have troubled you for the past year. During the period when Guo Pai disappeared, the Chinese Medicine Association's elders in Bugyaku helped them deal with the problems they encountered. Now that Guo Pai was coming back, the group of people finally felt at ease. They could deal with some minor illnesses. If they couldn't deal with it, they could transfer to Bugyaku in the capital. They didn't have to worry about trouble in the capital. We do need to have a good rest, but we're going to the capital's medical hall to rest. We've been working in your medical hall for more than a year. There's nothing wrong with asking for some wine from your hallmaster, right? Lin Changtian of the Chinese Medicine Association said with a smile. Then, the 4 vice presidents followed Lin Changtian to the capital. Little mama, is my daddy really coming back? A lot of people have come recently, but none of them are my daddy. The 1-year-old Gui Xiaoming sat on Er's lap and asked softly. Recently, the little girl had heard that Guo Pai was coming back. Although you had let her see Guo Pai's photos, the little girl would rush to any man below the age of 20 and above the age of 16 and call them daddy. It made people not know whether to laugh or cry. I am back. Chapter 444. I'm back. It was 7 o'clock in the evening. Bugyaku was closed for business, but the door was still open. Sat on the steps in the courtyard with Meng Meng in her arms. Guo Pai stood at the door, his gaze landing on Gui Xiaoming. Little mommy, this man looks so similar to the photo you showed me. Is he daddy? Meng Meng pouted and said, the people behind him are so tall and ugly. Cough, cough, cough. Scram, you guys hurry up and scram. Gu Yun, you came at the right time. I'll leave these 6 people to you. Bring them to stay in the Gu family. I'll be there in a while. Hurry up and scram. My daughter almost scared my little daughter, Guo Pai said loudly to the 6 big men behind him. Then he walked in front of Meng Meng with a look that he thought was the most handsome. Daddy? You my daddy? Meng Meng looked at Guo Pai and asked softly. It's really been a few days in the cave, but it's already the new year outside. This is my daughter. This trip to the human world is really worth it. Er's wife, it's been hard on you these days, Guo Pai said with a smile. My precious daughter, call me daddy again. Daddy, I'm going to tell mommy that daddy is back. With that, Meng Meng ran straight into the house. Meng Meng was originally a little taller than other children of her age, so she ran very steadily. However, Guo Pai still reached out and cast a Vajra amulet on the little girl. Even if she fell, she wouldn't feel any pain. Meng Meng, why are you running so fast? Let's go. Big brother will bring you to a good place. Meng Meng had just walked past the second door when she was stopped by a little boy who was half a head taller than her. Guo Pai stared at the little boy with his eyes wide open. Third prince, it seems like you're very used to your current appearance. However, hurry up and let go of my daughter. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you, Guo Pai said loudly to the little boy. The little boy turned to look at Guo Pai. Then, he let go of Meng Meng and leisurely walked to Guo Pai's side. Wine? Let's not talk about that first. This young master has already come out, and you only just came back. Wine, give me some wine first. I've been craving it recently. The little boy extended his small hand and said to Guo Pai, Ahem, 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 I'm sure there's enough wine. You stay aside for now. I'm going to see my wives. Guo Pai leaped into the air and landed in the hall. Big brother bad guy, you're finally back. When will we go out to the sea to play? I haven't played enough with those whales yet. Little Ling Immo saw Guo Pai looking at everyone with a mischievous smile. He was the first to run to Guo Pai's side and said with a smile, Where did you catch this little monkey? You guys can chat first. Leave this little monkey to me to play with for a few days. Little Ling Immo directly reached out and grabbed the little monkey standing on Guo Pai's shoulder. Futaba, play with the little girl for a while. I have something to do here. Come over for dinner tonight. Guo Pai said to the little monkey with a smile. Futaba didn't struggle and directly jumped onto little Ling Mo's shoulder. Little Ling and Mo led the little monkey out. When he saw that the third prince was also there, he directly grabbed the dumbfounded third prince and brought him to the courtyard to walk the monkey. Guopai walked into the reception room in the backyard under the gaze of a group of people. The room was filled with people, but there were no outsiders. All the employees of Byaku, his aunt Guofanyu, Lin Shuang, his three sworn brothers, Imo Beifong, who had stayed in Bugyaku for a day after hearing the news that Guopai was coming back, Xiao Wudi of the TRX group, and several other group leaders of the TRX group, Xianyuan Xiongfeng and Xianyuan Tingfei, and of course, the old man of the Nangong family. Guopai told them about his experience in the past year. Naturally, he didn't tell everyone everything. He only said that after he jumped off the plane, he swam to a small island and lived on it for more than a year. Then, he accidentally found an ancient ship on the island. Then, he sailed the ancient ship and drifted on the sea. After that, he encountered a few waves of pirates and saved 6 burly men and a monkey. Finally, he contacted his grandfather. However, from the looks of everyone, Guopai could tell that this group of people didn't even believe the punctuation marks of his words. How could such an expert be trapped on an island for more than a year? Everyone, don't look at me like that. Sai, you want me to talk, but you don't believe me. I see that everyone hasn't eaten dinner yet. Why don't we talk while eating? Guopai said with a smile. The group of people began to get busy. Guopai chatted with Lin Shuang for a while before he was pulled into the house by Yuer. First wife, there's so many people outside. I know you miss me, but you can't be in such a hurry. Guopai said with a smile. You haven't forgotten your ability to lie. That little monkey has the bloodline of the 6-eared macaque. Don't tell me you didn't know. Also, the 6 burly men that appeared at the door were all spirit beasts. You've done well this year, coming back and causing such a big commotion. Yuer said softly. First wife is still the quick-witted one. This time, I was trapped on a small island in Gainalot. Guopai said with a smile. After dinner, I'll tell you about this experience. Sai, strength, I'm still not strong enough. After going out for so long, Aunt has a big secret. I've asked Aunt many times, but she doesn't seem to know. You should know what's going on. Yuer said softly. If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. Shui Yunzi, that water immortal ancestor, is with Aunt. Guopai said softly, I'll be busy for the next few days. You'll have to give me the concealment talisman that fairy gave you. I can give you the concealment talisman, but you have to think carefully. If it's Shui Yunzi's real body, where are you going to find a physical body for him? He won't be interested in an ordinary physical body. Yuer said softly. Guopai nodded gently. If Yuer hadn't mentioned it, he would have forgotten about it. It seemed that he had to have a good chat with Shui Yunzi when he had time. I can help you release your real body, but you'll have to deal with the physical body yourself. When it was time for dinner, more and more people came to Bugyaku. A few girls came from Wu Castle to the imperial capital. There were also a few old men from the Chinese Medicine Association. The 531s also came to Bugyaku. In the end, Guopai had to prepare a few more tables of food in the Gu residence to satisfy everyone's needs. Brother Gu, get some people to take Old Man Lin and the others to the Gu residence to rest. As for the others, if they don't have anywhere to go, they can find a place to stay in the Gu residence. Guopai said with a smile. The group of people drank quite well today, and several of them were drunk. Bad people, little Meng Meng is playing with those big guys. Is everything all right? Lin Shuang whispered to Guopai when she saw that most of the people had left. Guopao looked over and saw that Xiao Meng Meng was thrown into the air by Hu De and the other fellows and was firmly caught in their hands. The little girl was giggling. Guopao's face was filled with black lines. These fellows actually picked up his own daughter and started playing with her. He looked at Futaba and saw that he seemed to have found out about the third prince. He was intentionally or unintentionally hiding from the third prince. However, the third prince definitely knew about Futaba and wanted to grab Futaba and ask him about it. Seeing that everyone had left, the third prince walked to Guopai's side and whispered to Guopai, "Boss, where did you get this monkey? If the great sage finds out, he'll probably beat it to death with a stick. We don't care about what happens in the heavens, and they don't have the heart to care about what happens in the human world. When the time comes, maybe the great sage will accept this little guy as his disciple, haha. Chapter 445. After a sleepless night, Guopai told Yuer everything that happened on Firecloud Island. Naturally, the identity of the six spirit beasts couldn't be hidden from Yuer and the six-eared macaque, little Fataba. I really didn't expect Firecloud Sage to leave so many good things in the human world. Yuer looked at the pile of magic weapons that Guopai took out and said softly, "By the way, you said that there were 8 great devils trapped on Firecloud Island. Why do I feel that this matter is a bit strange?" Guopai nodded gently. After more than 2 years in the human world, there were a lot of strange things that happened. Guopai faintly felt that there should be someone playing a big game of chess, and he was just a chess piece. Thinking about it, Guopai couldn't help but shake his head. "By the way, let me show you the treasures that I bought in Italy." After saying that, Guopai took out Lao Juan's gourd, Shadow Gu box, and Xiao Li's flying dagger appeared in front of Yuer. "Bad guy, brother. Put away the flying dagger and the Shadow Gu box. Don't let them be together." Yuer looked at the two things and said loudly. Little Ling Mo, who was meditating, opened his eyes. Guopai had a bad premonition and hurriedly put the flying dagger back in Lao Juan's gourd. "Yuer, what happened just now? Why did they appear at the same time with such pressure?" Guopai couldn't help but ask. It was the first time that he encountered such a thing. "Bad guy, brother. Did you offend someone in Italy?" This method was used by the Great Witch to deal with the Great Devil. "How could someone use it to deal with you?" Yuer asked softly. "These things belong to the Dark Church. My aunt used to be a member of the Dark Church. She was enslaved by the Blood Devil. It seems that the Great Devil wants to deal with me." Guopao whispered as he recalled the reason. "Chaotic, it's really too chaotic. Don't touch these two things for now. Tomorrow, go find Xiao Daoyuan and Li Shixin and see if they have any good ideas." Yuer said softly. Little Ling Ma didn't know what the two of them were talking about, so he didn't disturb them. He just watched the two of them finish talking. "Brother bad guy, Sister Yuer, I bought a lot of things from Italy. Can you show them to me? I don't want to be tricked." Little Ling Ma opened his eyes wide and said. The two of them shook their heads at the same time. Even if the Great Devil wanted to deal with Little Ling Ma, it was impossible for him to take out so many magic treasures. Even the Great, which didn't have many of these magic treasures left behind. The next morning, Guopai hadn't left his room when he heard Guyan calling him. Guopai hurriedly walked out. Could it be that these big guys had caused some trouble? "Brother Gu, what's so urgent?" Guopai looked at Guyan and asked. "The first chief is here. He is outside. Do you want to go out and take a look? It seems that he is looking for you." Guyan said softly. "Chairman Kai is here. I don't know what's the matter. I will go and take a look." Guopai directly walked to the entrance of Bugyaku. A commercial car was parked outside. Guopai directly opened the door and sat in the car. "Chairman Kai, I haven't seen you for a long time. How are you?" Guopai said with a smile, without any restraint. Kai Tianyang was also used to Guopai's current attitude. In the past year, Huaxia had developed very well. The biggest contributor should be Guopai. After taking down 4 black holes, Huaxia had advanced by leaps and bounds in terms of technology and other aspects. Little bad. Your disappearance this time is really big. When you went missing, Huaxia's navy was almost fully mobilized and almost caused a world war. You're finally back. Kai Tianyang said with a smile. "There are no outsiders. Just say what you want." Guopai looked at Kai Tianyang and said. The driver was Li Dafu. Since Kai Tianyang let Li Dafu drive, he naturally trusted Li Dafu for today's matter. Take a look at this report first. Your grandfather also knows about this matter. Although it hasn't caused any unrest yet, if it spreads according to the current situation, Huaxia will be in chaos. Kai Tianyang handed his mobile phone to Guopai. Guopai looked at the things on the screen and frowned. 3 waves of medical teams have been sent, but there is no response at all. Beijing is vast and sparsely populated. Now, everyone is not clear about the situation there. Kai Tianyang said softly. Epidemic, and it is likely to be a large-scale epidemic. This matter can't wait. Guopai said softly. Give me a day to prepare. I will take Bugyaku's people to Beijing. Let everyone know about this matter. It can't be hidden. If the government didn't release the news immediately, it would cause more unrest. Kai Tianyong looked at Li Dafu, and the two nodded together. But before the three of them could recover, Li Dafu received a phone call that almost made Kai Tianyong furious. What? What did you say? There are websites reporting about the epidemic in Beijing. Several major websites in the country have already reposted it. There are even reporters rushing to Beijing. When did this happen? Why are you only telling me now? Li Dafu asked loudly into the phone, even forgetting that Kai Tianyong was beside him. Mayor, we remember what you told us. We have people taking turns to monitor the news on the internet 24 hours a day. But this news came from Beijing. Although we deleted it immediately, we don't know why other major websites have also received the news, the person on the other end of the phone said softly. Dafu, give me the phone. I will tell them. Kai Tianyong said softly and took the phone directly. I am Kai Tianyong. Remember what you have to do now. Release an epidemic notice in the name of the country. Tell the people that we have sent medical teams to Beijing. Then contact the local garrison and seal off Beijing. And one more thing. In 24 hours, Bugyaku's president, Guo Pai, will personally lead a team to Beijing. I hope everyone can rest assured, Guo Pai said softly. Kai Tianyong nodded gratefully. Guo Pai chatted with Kai Tianyong for a while more before walking into Bugyaku. At this time, all the students in Bugyaku were already standing in the courtyard with different expressions. You all already know about the epidemic, right? Guo Pai said with a smile. I have already promised Bugyaku to send people to Beijing. I will personally lead the team. Boss, count me in. During the time you were not around, I learned a lot from teacher Tong Yuan. I hope I can go to Beijing with you this time and contribute my strength, Su Tu said loudly. Then, the other students expressed their opinions. Do you all think that Guo Pai's medical skills are invincible and that following me to Beijing will be a good opportunity to learn? Then you're wrong this time. I am very confident in my medical skills. However, this trip to Beijing will definitely not be easy. Not only you, but even I may be trapped in the epidemic area and never be able to return. Guo Pai's words made everyone's eyes widen. Yu nodded gently. She had seen the pictures on the internet. Plague. Yes, it was indeed a plague, but it was not a simple plague. Such a plague had appeared in the human world 10,000 years ago. At that time, the heavenly court had sent out countless doctors. In the end, they had used countless elixirs and miraculous medicines to prevent the final disaster. The symptoms at that time were exactly the same as in the pictures. If Guo Pao had been alone, it would have been impossible to stop this disaster. Boss, the more it is like this, the more we have to follow you to Beijing. You have told us before that before a disaster, we need great doctors. I think it is time for us to stand up now, Chen Jiadi said loudly. All right, then let's get ready. Let's face this disaster together. Chapter 446. Bugyaku had been busy since the morning. All the people in Bugyaku were divided into two groups. One group was writing prescriptions for the patients who came to Bugyaku for treatment, while the other group was working with Guo Pai in medicine room. That's all we can do for now, Guo Pai said with a serious face. Little Mo, I won't be taking you to Beijing this time. Remember the prescriptions you made today. After the old men sober up, give them the prescriptions to the Chinese Medicine Association and tell them that the herbs must be of good quality. It's best if they can be mass-produced. Bugyaku will set up a special dispensary for all the citizens who come to Bugyaku to distribute the herbs. These herbs have some effect on fighting the plague. Mo did not say much. He nodded lightly and did not insist on going with them like little Ling and Mo. Don't go back to Wu Castle for now. Stay in Bugyaku. Guo Pai said to Tang Shi and the others. Ling, find a way to buy Chinese herbs with second brother. After you buy them, send them directly to the Gu family. Sort the herbs according to the best quality. Then, set up the production line for Yuan International and dream of Wu Castle as soon as possible. Mass-produce bottled Chinese herbs. Then, distribute them to all parts of Huaxia for free. I'll pay for all the expenses. Fourth brother, what you're saying is a little boring. What expenses? I'm leaving first. I'll go to the company and arrange the recent matters. Ling, find a few trustworthy people to come to my company. I have a factory in the south that has just been built. Prepare the equipment and set up the Chinese medicine refining base first." After Jia Yuan finished speaking, he ran out without looking back. "Fourth brother, what do you need us to do?" Liao and Wang Sheng stepped forward and asked. "Third brother, I remember that you used to do well in Huaxia's Hacker Alliance." Guo Pai said softly, "Contact your old friends and take over the homepages of all the websites. Especially control the panic caused by the external forces and buy us some time. Don't let the people in Huaxia panic." Wang Sheng nodded and went to the Gu family. The Gu family had a server with good performance that he could use. "Brother Yao, you go with the Dragon King to the Tyrannosaurus Rex group. Niomeng, the rest of you go back to 531. Your mission is the same as third brothers. If there are any rumors spreading, take them under control. The capital can't fall into chaos," Guo Pai said softly. They nodded and turned to leave. "Senior Chiu, Senior Li, this is a once-in-10,000 years opportunity. Come with me to the northern frontier. The only reason I can earn merits like this is because you two are acquaintances. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought you along," Guo Pai said with a smile. The two old men's faces darkened. If they could get rid of the plague, the merits would definitely be huge. However, as you said, this is a once-in-10,000 years disaster. It's not something that can be solved so easily. However, the two old men still nodded. They were rescued by Guo Pai from the gourd. Whether they could get rid of the plague or not, they would return the favor to Guo Pai. "Aunt, you want to go to the northern frontier with me?" Guo Pai said as he looked at Guo Fanyu. Guo Fanyu nodded without any further explanation. "Chun Jiadi, Chao, Qinquan, Xiao Qian, Su Tu, Yao Shi, Xiao Xiao. The few of you want to go to the northern frontier with me. I won't force you. Just like I said earlier, if you are infected with the plague in the northern frontier, I don't have 100% confidence that I can cure you," Guo Pai said softly. The six of them took a step forward and stood behind Guo Pai. Even Su Tu, who was always laughing, had a serious expression. Then, Guo Pai let the six students pack up their things. He walked into the medicine room again. The biggest way to deal with the plague in the human world was to use things from the human world. The pills that he refined should not have much effect on the plague in front of him. Guo Pai thought about what happened 10,000 years ago and couldn't help but shake his head. "I can't panic. I have to have confidence. This is no longer my problem. The Heavenly Court won't send heavenly doctors down to the human world like 10,000 years ago. I can only hope that the plague this time isn't as bad as last time." Guo Pai whispered to himself. Then he quickly grabbed 36 herbs and brewed a bowl of medicine for himself. Then he divided it into 6 portions and poured them into a jade bottle. Guo Pai didn't appear for lunch and dinner. After Lin Changtian and the others sobered up, they took Guo Pai's prescription and rushed back to Wu Castle. The 5 of them split into 5 groups, and each group led a few people to the branches of the Chinese Medicine Association in the 5 big cities of Huaxia. You guys saw the news today, right? What happened in the northern frontier is true. There is a plague in the northern frontier. Now, the entire northern frontier is under lockdown. No one is allowed to enter or leave. In a tea house in the imperial capital, a few middle-aged men were chatting as usual. I saw the news. Our imperial capital, Bugyaku, sent people to the northern frontier early this morning. I believe that with godly Dr. Gua, this plague will be resolved quickly. Another middle-aged man said with a smile, "If it's really a plague, then it's hard to say. I remember that there were a few plagues recorded in the history books of Huaxia. Every single one of them caused huge losses. In the end, it took years or even decades for it to be resolved. Headmaster Gua's medical skills are indeed brilliant, but he's still too young to deal with a plague." Another middle-aged man shook his head helplessly. "Look, Source International and Wu Castle's dream of Wu Castle have made a big move together. I remember that the boss of Source International, Jia Yuan, has a good relationship with Bugyaku's Guo Pai. It seems that the chairwoman of Dream of Wu Castle also knows Guo Pai." The middle-aged man who spoke just now saw that Source International and Dream of Wu Castle were holding a press conference at the same time as he scrolled through the news on his phone. Everyone should have seen the news. As a member of Huaxia, we, Source International, are prepared to take out 50 billion Huaxia dollars to establish a Chinese medicine company on our new factory site to produce anti-plague medicine. At the same time, we will work together with Dream of Wu Castle's director's son to distribute the produced Chinese medicine to citizens all over the country as soon as possible. Jia Yuan said softly into the microphone. Director Jia, I wonder who gave you the prescription for the anti-plague medicine. Are you sure that Chinese medicine can resist this plague? A female reporter asked softly below the stage. The prescription was personally researched by Headmaster Guo Pai in Bugyaku. Before he went to Beijing, he said that this Chinese medicine can't guarantee 100% resistance to the plague, but at least it can increase our resistance to disease and reduce the risk of infection. Jia Yuan said softly, "We're going to be rich. Source International is going to hit the jackpot this time. I really didn't expect that. Last time, when Source International was restructured, Jia Yuan earned a pot of platinum. This time, it's even more impressive. I have to find someone to place an order with Source International. If I'm late, I'm afraid I won't even get the first batch of medicine." A middle-aged man finished speaking and got up to leave. "Old Zhang, you don't have to go." The middle-aged man holding the phone said softly, his eyes full of admiration. "What's wrong? Has all the Chinese medicine in Source International been reserved?" Old Zhang couldn't help but ask with a face full of disappointment. The middle-aged man stopped talking and turned the phone's volume to the maximum. The tea house quieted down. The newly established company is called the Great Doctor Company. This time, all the Chinese medicine will be distributed for free. Yes, all of it will be distributed for free. Not only the current medicine, but before the epidemic is under control, all the medicine in our company will be distributed for free to Huaxia brothers and sisters all over the country. Jia Yuan stood up and said loudly. The audience applauded thunderously, and several female reporters even shed tears. The great doctor, the doctor of the country. Chapter 447. Bugyaku's group of 10 took a plane directly to Longhua Airport, which was the closest to Beijing. Then, with the help of the local garrison, they directly drove into Beijing. "Boss, where are we going now?" After the Beijing city government signed the entry and exit form for outsiders, Guo Pai and the others walked out of the government building. Chen Jiadi asked softly, "Let's go. Take your respective documents. I'll take you to the municipal hospital. Elder Chiu, elderly, I'll leave the matter of finding the source of the plague to the two of you. If there's anything, contact me." After Guo Pai finished speaking, the two old men leisurely left the group. The few students knew that the two old men weren't ordinary people, so they didn't say anything. "Boss, there's no one in the hospital. There's no doctor or patient." The few students walked around the entire hospital building, but they didn't even see a shadow. Guo Pai's face darkened. The situation was more serious than he imagined. On the way to the municipal hospital, they could see a few people scattered on the streets, but there was no one in the hospital. Then, where were the patients mentioned on the internet? Where did the patients go? Little bad. The municipal hospital used to have Chinese medicine. The pharmacy is on the second floor. Guo Fanyu was the last to appear in front of everyone. She looked at Guo Pai and whispered, "Auntie, take these students to the pharmacy first. See if the herbs in the pharmacy are complete. I'll go out and take a look." After saying that, Guo Pai walked out of the hospital. Guo Fanyu led a group of people to the Chinese medicine pharmacy on the second floor. The Beijing city government doesn't want us to care about the epidemic here. Sitting in the car, Guo Pao thought about everything that had happened since he entered Beijing city and summed it up with this sentence. Mayor Song, those doctors from the capital went to the municipal hospital. The mayor is wise. The hospital is empty, but I think that Guo Pai, who led the team, will come back. What should we do then? Zhang Shuquan, the secretary of the Beijing city mayor, whispered to Mayor Song Qing. Open the first quarantine zone to them and let them in. After they enter the quarantine zone, lock down the entire quarantine zone. Just deal with them like the previous doctors. Song Qing narrowed his eyes and said, "Let the people of the northern borderline settle their own matters." If the northern borderline were to fall due to the plague, it should fall on my hands. Yesterday, we received news from quarantine zone number 3 that Secretary Li is dying. Zhang Shuquan said softly. The Secretary Li he was talking about was the secretary of the Beijiang Municipal Committee, Li Boxiong. He was the first person to come into contact with the infected people when the epidemic appeared. He was the first person in Beijiang who had vowed to live and die with the infected people in Beijiang. Now, he was about to fall. That's what he deserves. He was the first one to come into contact with the infected crowd. At that time, he earned a lot of attention. Serve him right now. Song Qing said loudly. I just saw on the internet that Yuan International and the Wu Castle Group have jointly developed a drug that can resist the plague. I've already contacted the relevant departments. The drug will be sent to Beijiang in the near future. When the time comes, a drug distribution meeting will be organized. If Beijiang can survive this crisis, my position will be yours, Shuquan. Zhang Shuquan shuddered. He had never dared to think about being promoted directly from the mayor's secretary to the mayor. However, now that the municipal committee secretary was about to die, the mayor would replace the municipal committee secretary. 2 of the other deputy mayors were by the municipal committee secretary side. Whether or not they could survive this plague was still uncertain. He definitely had a chance. Thank you, Secretary Song. I'll go and contact the people about the drug first. Don't worry, I'll send the medical team to quarantine zone number 1. After Zhang Shuquan finished speaking, he ran downstairs. Guopai drove to a supermarket. A salesperson was listlessly watching the television in the supermarket. She did not care about Guopai's arrival at all. Beauty, it's so quiet, Guopai said with a smile. However, the salesperson was still looking at the phone and did not look at Guopai at all. Just take whatever you want. If you have the money, come and pay. If not, forget it. I can see that you're not a local. If you have the connections, quickly find a way to leave Beijiang. If not, just find a clean place to stay. The salesperson said lazily when she saw that Guopai had no intention of leaving. I'm a member of the medical team from the capital. We're here this time to understand the epidemic. However, when we went to the municipal hospital just now, there was no one at all. I wonder if you know why. Guopai asked with a smile. You should be the first, second, third, and fourth medical team to come here. The other 3 medical teams never came again after buying from me. They're probably in the quarantine zone. Let me give you a piece of advice. Your medical team should not go to the quarantine zone. If they go, there's a high chance that they won't be able to come out, the salesperson said lazily. The television said that a big medical company has recently launched a special medicine. I wonder if it's effective. Sigh, Beijiang deserves such things. Let's not talk about it. Since you're a member of the medical team, take whatever you need. It's free. Anyway, you can't sell it. After the salesperson finished speaking, she continued watching the television. Guopai did not ask any more questions. He took 2 boxes of mineral water and threw them in the car. You haven't been resting well recently. These are some medicine I brought from the capital. You could try it. After Guopai finished speaking, he placed a jade box the size of a candy box on the table and turned to leave the supermarket. The girl was stunned at first. Then, her gaze fell on the words Bugyaku on the box. He's really a member of the medical team. He's from the capital, Bugyaku. Could it be that Beijiang can still be saved? The girl took the pill skeptically. A refreshing feeling rushed in her mind. Ever since the outbreak of the epidemic in Beijiang, the girl had never felt so comfortable. Principal Gua, Mayor Song asked me to look for you just now. Look at what I've done. Did you guys go to the city hospital? Sai, I forgot to tell you guys. There's no one in the city hospital. Everyone is in Beijiang's Sifang City. There's a quarantine zone there. If your medical team wants to check the epidemic, you have to go there. Guopai returned to the municipal building and met Zhang Shuquan at the entrance. Zhang Shuquan said with a smile, Sifang City? Guopai narrowed his eyes and looked at Zhang Shuquan. This person did not look like a gentleman. However, Guopai did not intend to communicate with this guy. He drove back to the municipal hospital. Boss, you said that all the infected people are in Sifang City? I just checked the situation in Sifang City on the internet. It's a ruin that was developed by a developer halfway. Why would they set up a quarantine zone there? If they really want to quarantine, Wouldn't it be more convenient to do it in the municipal hospital? Chao Chinquan said softly as he looked at his laptop. Guopai shook his head lightly. Chao Chinquan was right. If they really wanted to quarantine the infected people, they only needed to quarantine the municipal hospital. There was no need to go to the newly developed Xifang city in Beijiang. However, Guo Fanyu's words reminded everyone. I've encountered similar situations in some underdeveloped countries. If they discover that an infectious disease has appeared in their country, they will immediately gather the infected people in a fixed place. This place must be economically backward. Then, Guo Fanyu looked at the group of students and bit her lips. She did not continue. Then send out troops to suppress them. Kill them all and burn down the entire city. This is the fastest way to eliminate the source of the infection, right? Chun Jiadi narrowed his eyes and said. The group of students widened their eyes. Guopai looked at Guo Fanyu, and she nodded lightly. Chapter 448. Guopai couldn't help but shake his head. Even the Tang dynasty thousands of years ago didn't do such a thing. Could it be that human development was regressing? Emperor Jia is right. In those underdeveloped places, they use such a cruel method. Guo Fanyu said softly, but Beijiang shouldn't use such a method. There are already more than 1,000 infected people, and more than 10,000 people are suspected to be infected. Our country wouldn't do such a thing. Let's go. Let's go to Foursquare City. If we can deal with this epidemic, nothing will happen, Guopai said softly, and the others nodded. On the way, Guopai told all the students about the things they needed to pay attention to in the quarantine area. Yaoshi and Xiaoxiao's determination surprised Guopai. The two people that Guopai was most worried about made him feel relieved. Remember, watch more, ask more, and remember more. Pay attention to your own safety. If there are any problems, come to me immediately. Guopai reminded the 6 students again. As for his aunt, Guopai wasn't worried. Even if his aunt was infected with the plague, the Shui Yunzi in her body would help her deal with it. When Guopai and the others arrived at Foursquare City, it was already 7 o'clock in the evening. After communicating with the garrison, the 8 of them entered Quarantine Area 1. Another 8 people came to die. I really don't know what the higher-ups are thinking. Since they're going to give up on these people, why are they still letting good people in? A soldier said to another person beside him as he watched Guopai and the others walk into the quarantine area. It's not up to us to care about this. Sai, if it's really like what the company commander said the other day, it's really a sin, a soldier said softly. One of the soldiers whispered. When Guopao heard their words, he turned to look at the 2 soldiers. It seemed like they would really deal with the quarantine zone like what his aunt had said. Little bad. Things are worse than we thought. Guopai led the students to an open space to set up a tent. Guo Fanyu walked in from outside. Auntie, what's the situation? Guopai looked at Guo Fanyu and asked softly. There are more than 3,000 infected people. This is quarantine zone number 1. To the south of Four Corner City is quarantine zone number 2, and to the north is quarantine zone number 3. The total number of people in these 3 quarantine zones is over 100,000, Guo Fanyu said softly. The people from the Beijiang Municipal Committee still hid the epidemic, Guopai said softly. Things were indeed much worse than he had imagined. Don't go out tonight. Auntie, their safety is in your hands. I'll go out for a walk. There's water and instant noodles in the car. Find a way to make a fire and make something to eat. After Guopai finished speaking, he walked along a stone path to a building. A newcomer. Haha, another newcomer. The moment Guopai entered the building, a middle-aged man in a very bad state looked at Guopai and said loudly with a smile. He's really new, haha. Another man lying next to the middle-aged man sat up and said with a smile, Old C, this should be the 3,361st person. Give me your hand and tell me how your body feels. Guopai did not continue walking. He squatted next to the man called Old C and said softly, How do I feel? I feel how you feel. What else can I feel when I'm infected with the plague? I'm just waiting for death. Although Old C said that, he still subconsciously extended his right hand. You're not infected with the plague. What did you come in? After about 10 seconds, Guopai said softly. This man called Old C in front of him did not have any symptoms of the plague. Little brother, you're a doctor? I'm not infected? How can I not be infected? My symptoms were exactly the same as theirs at the beginning. But now, it should be the final radiance of the setting sun. I'm probably going to die soon, Old C said loudly as he panted heavily. I'm a doctor. You're not infected with the plague. Follow this path. Our medical team is on the other side. Tell them that Guopai asked you to come here. They'll help you do a systematic checkup, Guopai said softly. You're telling the truth? How can this be? I've been locked up here for almost 2 weeks. How can I not be infected with the plague? How can this be? Old C mumbled. Old C, you're not infected with the plague? That's really funny. How can you not be infected? Since you're not infected, I'll help you as your big brother. Since you're going out anyway, I'll let you have a good taste of this. Guopai wanted to stop him, but it was too late. The man lying on the ground bit Old C's arm, causing Old C to scream in pain. His arm was already bleeding. Haha. Old C, you don't have to worry anymore. You're definitely infected now. The man laughed and said, And you, stinking brat, you should be infected too. There's no cure for the plague that we're infected with. Is your medical team here to watch us die? As he spoke, the man rushed towards Guopai. People's hearts have changed. People like you shouldn't be living in this world. Guopai reached out a finger and tapped the man's head the moment the man fell on him. The man fell straight to the ground. Old C looked at the man lying on the ground. He wanted to scream, but he couldn't make a single sound. Go to the place I mentioned just now and tell them what happened to you. Stay there obediently. Whether you can survive or not depends on your luck. Guopai said and continued to walk inside. Old C nodded. He didn't know where he got the strength from after not eating for 2 days, but he strode towards the medical team. I'm a member of the medical team. I don't know if I can save you, but I need you to cooperate with me. Now, line up and come me one by one. Guopai walked into the hall, moved a table to the stairs, and said loudly to the 30 people inside, Medical team? How interesting. You're so young, and you're a member of the medical team? Whose kid is this? Hurry up and take him away. We don't have time to play with you. A middle-aged man looked at Guopai and shouted, You had enteritis before the age of 30. You had an operation. Later, you had facial paralysis because of alcohol. Who else wanted to talk about your condition? Guopai said loudly. The middle-aged man was stunned. You know me? Are you really a doctor? The middle-aged man stammered as he walked to Guopai and asked softly, Give me your right hand. I want to take your pulse. Guopai said. The middle-aged man stretched out his right hand. Doctor, my name is Su Gang. I'm 47 years old this year. Can you see if I can still be saved? If I can't, please save my child. Su Bao, come here quickly. Su Gang said loudly. A young man who was about the same age as Guopai walked to Guopai. Tell me about your current situation. Su Bao, sit down and give me your right hand. Guopai said softly. At first, I just had a headache and a fever. It was no different from a common cold. Later, I felt that my joints were a little sore. Later, my joints were fine. I felt that my spine couldn't move. Until now, there is no pain, but I can't eat anything. Su Gang said softly. Su Bao, what are your symptoms now? Guopai asked Su Bao after taking his pulse. My limbs are starting to feel sore. Brother, are my father and I going to die? Su Bao said with a hint of despair. Things are not as bad as you think. I will try my best to save you. As for the final outcome, I can't guarantee. Chapter 449. Guopai's words were like a shot of adrenaline, causing the father and son of the Su family to show a hint of excitement. Doctor, just tell us what you need us to do, and we will do our best to cooperate with you, regardless of whether you can cure us in the end, Su Gang said excitedly. Guopao nodded his head lightly. He got Su Gang and Su Bao to communicate with the people in the hall, asking them to maintain order and come to him one by one. Hearing Su Gang's words, the group of people who had been tortured by the plague for several days and were waiting for death seemed to have grasped at the last straw of hope. They obediently lined up in a long line. Doctor, I know I've been infected with the plague. I've never done anything good in my life, but I've never done anything bad either. It doesn't matter if you save me or not, but please cure my son. He's only in his teens, and his life has just begun. A middle-aged man looked at Guopai with tears streaming down his face. The young man beside him was in a better state of mind, and he couldn't help but comfort his father. Guopai nodded slightly. The man in front of him was indeed not an evil person, but just as he said, he wasn't a kind person either. They had their selfishness, but in the face of death, they could still show their selflessness. This might be the power of the bloodline. I know that 2 medical teams have already come here, and they couldn't cure the plague. They're now infected like you. Although you've lined up, you don't believe that I can cure you, Guopai said softly. The people in the line nodded. Indeed, they were the first group of infected people at the entrance of Quarantine Zone 1, and they were the first to be contacted by the medical teams that came here before. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. They knew the current situation, and the fact that they lined up spontaneously was just to give themselves a little hope. I'm a doctor, and it's my first time facing such a plague. I can't guarantee that I can cure all of you, or even any one of you, but I'm a doctor, and I can guarantee that I'll be with you. I hope that if anyone in this room dies, don't panic. Even if I have to dispose of the bodies to prevent the plague from mutating, I'll do my best to help everyone. Guopai's voice was very penetrating. The people in the crowd nodded. This young man was different from the previous doctors. Guopai began to check everyone's pulse one by one, then asked about their condition. Then, he categorized the patients according to their current condition. Unfortunately, all 36 patients were infected, and there were no more fish in the net like Lao Si. Little Dr. Guopai, what should we do now? Su Gang walked to Guopai and asked softly, Take Su Bao and the 2 men over there with me. Follow me to our base to get the medicine. I don't know if it can slow down the onset of the illness. Guopai said in a low voice. Including the 2 men behind him, it was the first time that someone had walked out of the building in the past week. Boss, a patient came in just now. He said that you asked him to come. He's now in a separate tent. His wound has been treated, but he seems to be very nervous. Go and see him after you're done. Chun Jiadi said softly when he saw Guopai coming back. All of you put on masks, and give the masks you took from the hospital to the 4 of them. Then, give them 2 packs of the Chinese medicine I packed from Bugyaku. Guopai said to Chun Jiadi, then turned to look at Su Gang. There's water in the building, so don't drink cold water anymore. Put this pack of medicine into this big container and boil it for 3 hours. Then, heat it up with a small fire. From today onwards, each of you will have a small cup of it every day. If there's anything, contact me through the walkie-talkie. Guopai said, and threw the walkie-talkie to Su Gang. Su Gang took the walkie-talkie and brought the 3 of them back to the station. However, the situation was much worse than before. Dr. Xiao Guo, I don't know how the people upstairs found out about the medical team. There are about 200 people on the first floor now, and the things you gave have been taken away by them. Su Gang said loudly into the walkie-talkie. The other side of the walkie-talkie was noisy, and Guopai frowned. Xiao, record the time and symptoms of Lao Si. Qingquan, Emperor Jia, the 2 of you come with me. The rest of you stay here. If anyone dares to barge in, don't be courteous to them. Guopai said helplessly. He handed 2 laser guns to Su Tu and the rest and told them how to use them. Remember, don't use this unless you have no other choice. Guopai reminded them again. Let's go. The plague isn't scary. What's scary is the human heart. Second brother, I'm Lao Si. How are you and Ling Ling's preparations? When can the first batch of Chinese medicine be produced? Yes, I don't care what method you use. Gather 100,000 tubes for the first batch and send them to Beijiang as soon as possible. Whether this plague can be controlled or not depends on you guys. Guopai held the satellite phone in his hand and said, There was no signal in the entire square city, and Guopai could only use this satellite phone. Chairman Kai, things are much worse than we thought. The second number Guopai dialed was Hua Xia's number, Kai Tianyang. Kai Tianyang, who had just finished a meeting, received a call from his secretary. After hearing Guopai's words, his face turned gloomy. It doesn't matter who you send now. I need you to contact the garrison's commander-in-chief and order everyone to lock down Beijiang. If there aren't enough people, transfer them from the surrounding areas. Also, tell the garrison here that if they dare to shoot and kill anyone, don't blame me for starting a massacre, Guopai said loudly. Kai Tianyong was shocked by Guo Pai's last sentence. Little bad, don't worry. I'll take care of things outside. However, how many people are infected in Beijiang? Do you have any accurate information? Kai Tianyong asked softly. There are more than 3,000 infected people and more than 100,000 suspected infected people. If this data is leaked, you know the consequences better than I do. There's one more thing. There's something wrong with the current mayor of Beijiang. Think of a way to solve it. Guo Pai hung up the phone. Master Xia, I am Guo Pao. Send Tyrannosaurus Rex to Beijiang. There's a problem with the garrison in Beijiang. I have already told Kai Tianyong about it. However, his speed is probably much slower than our Tyrannosaurus Rex group. By the time Guo Pai finished his third call, he had already walked to the entrance of the building. He could already see the situation inside clearly. People. That's right, they were all people. Little Dr. Guo, leave quickly. These people are crazy. Su Gang saw Guo Pai and the other two and couldn't help but shout loudly. A group of people walked towards Guo Pai. We don't want to fight with Su Gang, but we want to receive equal treatment like them. I know you're a doctor. Please save us. A middle-aged man walked up to Guo Pai and said loudly. You don't want to fight, but you've already done it, Guo Pai said softly. How many people are in this building? Guo Pai looked at the middle-aged man and asked. There are more than 300 people in total. I don't know the exact number, because people die every day. We don't want to die, the middle-aged man said loudly. Don't want to die? If you don't want to die, then listen to me. Guo Pai shouted loudly. Return the things you stole to Su Gang and return to your own place. This building has a total of 10 floors. Today, I'll go up one floor at a time. As for whether I can survive, I promise. Li Jun, I don't King believe this kid. Now that I've got the medicine, I'll take it myself. Once I'm done, I can leave this Sifong city. Before the middle-aged man could say anything, a slightly plump middle-aged man shouted loudly while holding the medicine that Guo Pai gave to Su Gang. Bang! The slightly plump man fell to the ground. A young man hit the man's head with a steel pipe and then reached out to grab the man's medicine bag. Uncle Xiang, I'm sorry. This medicine is mine. Before the young man could finish, the entire first floor was in chaos again. It's the human heart that's scary. Chapter 450. After a scuffle, the last pack of medicine was snatched away. At this time, the crowd stopped fighting and looked at Guo Pai and the other two not far away. They all squatted on the ground obediently. Dr. Guo Pai, old Su didn't do the task you gave him. Su Gang walked to Guo Pai and whispered. Guo Pao patted old Su on the shoulder and walked to the front of the crowd that had been fighting over it just now. Don't you want to die? Guo Pai asked softly. If you don't want to die, show me that you want to live. I'll give you 10 minutes to clean this place up quickly. There are 10 floors in this building. After 30 minutes, I want to know how many people are still alive in this building. How many children, women, and men are there? The children and women are on the lower floors, and the men are on the upper floors. If you want to live, then hurry up and do it. Don't show me such a pitiful look. No one will sympathize with the weak, and no one will sympathize with the dead. As soon as Guo Pai's voice fell, Su Gang called his son and ran upstairs. Before he left, he said, We'll go to the top 3 floors to count the number of people. Sun Jian, Zhou Ming, come with us. The 4 people disappeared at the top of the stairs. The people on the first floor began to busy themselves. Some people even began to deal with the dead bodies upstairs. The people who were snatching the medicine looked at each other and discussed for almost 3 minutes. The whole upstairs began to busy themselves according to Guo Pai's instructions. Guo Pai took a deep breath. There were more than 300 people in this building. According to the information he received, there were at least 10 such isolation areas in this building. If they were all like this building, he would be busy for a few days to stabilize the emotions of the infected people. Time. What he lacked most now was time. Dr. Guo, the people have been counted. In this building, there are a total of 73 children under the age of 14. Excluding the children, there are 143 men and 91 women. We have carried out a total of 24 bodies, all of which are outside. The hygiene of each floor has been roughly cleaned. It may still be a little dirty. Su Gang said with sweat all over his head. According to what I told you earlier, boil this medicine and let the children and women drink it first. Those who are in a more serious condition, drink it first. I don't know if this medicine can keep the disease from worsening, but I hope it will work. Guo Pai handed Su Gang a packet of Chinese medicine. This time, no one came forward to fight for it. The water in the pot was already boiling. Emperor Jia, go and check the pulses of all the women. Qian Kuan, go and check the pulses of the children. Remember their pulses and divide them into groups according to their priority. We don't have much time, Guo Pai said softly. Chun Jiadi and Chao Qiankuan went upstairs. Among these women and children, some are your relatives and some are not. However, I hope that you can let them be treated first. The plague in the northern frontier is very serious. I don't know if we can save the northern frontier in the end, but saving them is equivalent to giving the northern frontier hope. I hope you can understand, Guo Pao said softly. Clap, clap, clap. As Guo Pai's voice fell, a man in the corner of the first floor clapped his hands. Everyone's eyes fell on the man. You are Secretary Li Boxiong? Someone in the crowd suddenly recognized the man and couldn't help but laugh and ask, There is no Li Boxiong here. I'm the sinner of the North. In the beginning, I concealed the epidemic in the North, which led to the current situation. I deserve to die, Li Boxiong said loudly. You are right. You are indeed guilty, but you can't die now. At least, you are much better than the mayor of the North and that secretary's song. Guo Pai said with a smile. A few people who followed Li Boxiong into the quarantine area nodded. With the secretary of the municipal party committee, it was much more convenient for Guo Pai to understand the situation in the north. What did you say? The northernmost part of the Foursquare city is not sealed. There's a mountain there? Guo Pai was stunned when he heard Li Boxiong's words. In the beginning, he also noticed the northernmost part of the Foursquare city, but he didn't expect it to not be sealed. They had underestimated these people who had sentenced themselves to death. Little brother, I'm sorry. I didn't stand properly just now. Just as Guo Pai and Li Boxiong were chatting, something happened to Chun Jiadi on the second floor. When he was taking the pulse of a 17-year-old girl, the girl didn't stand properly. Chun Jiadi reached out to pull her, and her nails scratched Chun Jiadi's arm. Emperor Jia, what happened to your arm? Just as Chun Jiadi walked down the stairs, Guo Pai's gaze fell on his arm. Chun Jiadi followed Guo Pai out of the building and told Guo Pai what happened upstairs. Emperor Jia, aren't you afraid? Guo Pai narrowed his eyes and looked at the guy in front of him who was a few years older than him. They had been in Bugyaku for 2 years, but in the end, he was just a 20-year-old boy. Guo Pai knew that he was taking a risk by bringing them to the epidemic area. Boss, I'm a doctor from Bugyaku. Our head is the great Dr. Guo Pai. What do I have to be afraid of? Chun Jiadi said softly. The epidemic is different from other diseases. I can't guarantee that I can cure you this time. Guo Pai shook his head and said, When you reach the base, stay separately from them. Tell them about your situation directly. Take this pill. I hope it will be useful. Chun Jiadi nodded, but he didn't put the pill into his mouth. Guo Pai shook his head gently. Chun Jiadi, what a Chun Jiadi. He didn't misjudge him. This was what a doctor should be like. At night, Guo Pai stood on a high hill and looked at the flickering lights of the buildings. There were more than 100,000 people in this place, and they were suspected to be infected. How could there be any suspected infected people? Laosi was definitely an exception. To put it bluntly, the 100,000 suspected infected people were the people in the early stages of the epidemic. They would become infected very soon. Once that happened, for Corner City would be in chaos. Little Bad, you're not sleeping? Guo Pai and Guo Fanyu weren't sleeping either. When Guo Pai was standing on the high hill, Guo Fanyu had already walked over. No, Auntie, you should rest early. The longer we delay, the greater the danger to our base. At that time, we will need you to protect a few students, Guo Pai said softly. You came back in a hurry, so I didn't get the chance to ask you. Aren't you going to tell me about my situation? Guo Fanyu looked into the distance and asked. Guo Pai turned his head and looked at his auntie. Could it be that Shui Yunzi had communicated with his auntie? That shouldn't be the case. Shui Yunzi wouldn't dare to tell him that he had taken over his body. Otherwise, there would be a problem with his body, and he would be done for. What did the Angel Council and the Dark Vatican do to me? Why did I fight with you? Guofan Yu asked softly. Guopai smiled and sat on a high hill. He began to tell his auntie about her situation. It was fine as long as it had nothing to do with Shui Yunzi. You are not my little nephew, Guofan Yu said softly. Guopai didn't refute. But now, I really hope that you are my nephew. You'll be able to deal with this plague, right? Just tell me what you need me to do. I will do my best to help you. After Guofan Yu finished speaking, she directly walked down the high hill. Guopai gently nodded. He didn't know if yesterday's Chinese medicine would be effective tomorrow. There was also his second brother's Chinese medicine processing. He hoped that would buy him some time. Little Bad, we are here. Your little monkey insisted on bringing the 6 big guys with him, so I brought them with me. Now, do you need us to enter the epidemic area? Chapter 451. The next morning, when the sun had just risen, Guopau's phone rang. Xing Tian said loudly on the other end of the phone. Guopau's face was filled with black lines. Boss, this is a plague. Why is everyone so excited when they hear it? Brother Xing, take the brothers from the T-Rex group to guard the southernmost mountain in Beijiang. Don't let anyone walk out of Sifong City. Ask Futaba and Huda to come to me directly. Give them money. When they come, ask them to buy something from the supermarket in Beijiang. Don't let Futaba touch the car. Let Huda and the rest carry the things. Buy as much as possible, Guopai said with a smile. After hanging up the phone, Guopai led Chen Jiadi and Chao Qiankuan to the first building. Yesterday, Chao Qiankuan came back very late. Everyone in the building should have taken Chinese medicine. It was just unknown how effective it was. Boss, someone died again, Chao Qiankuan said softly. Just as they walked to the front of the building, there were 2 more bodies next to the deep pit that they dug last night. We'll go in later. Emperor Jia and I will check on his condition. You go find Li Boxiong and see if the bodies that were carried out yesterday have any relatives. We have to burn the bodies today, Guopai said softly. The 3 of them had already walked into the building. Dr. Gua, 2 people who were infected early this morning died. Su Gang walked to Guopai and said. Guopai nodded gently and gestured for Su Gang to sit down. Then, he began to take Su Gang's pulse. After that, he called Su Bao over. Then, he took the pulses of the patients who were infected at different times. Guopai walked out of the building and looked at the 2 bodies on the ground. He didn't say a word. Guopai looked at Chen Jiadi walking out of the house and handed a pill to Chen Jiadi. You gave the pill I gave you to the girl who scratched you yesterday, right? See if her condition can be controlled in the next 2 days. Take this pill, Guopai said softly as he looked at Chen Jiadi walking out of the house. Boss, the situation isn't good. I remembered that the patient's pulses yesterday were very bad. It seems that our Chinese medicine didn't work, Chen Jiadi said softly. Guopai nodded gently. Guopai looked at the building. Since he was banished from the heavenly court, this was the first time he felt powerless. Plague, damn plague. Even with his abilities, he couldn't do anything about it. The formation could be set up, but so what? Plague, to put it simply, was a punishment from heaven. To be specific, it was a punishment. God's punishment. It was a punishment from heaven. To be specific, in the human worlds, of the human world. How? Thinking about it, Guopai couldn't help but shake his head. Heaven's punishment was also a gift from heaven. If he could get rid of this plague, it would be a great merit. With this merit, he wouldn't be struck by lightning even if he ascended to the heavenly realm. But if he couldn't even keep his life, then what was the use of this merit? Chao Qiankuan found the family members of the deceased. Guopai gave them a few simple instructions. After all, it was impossible to cremate them one by one. It was impossible to separate the ashes. Guopai chanted a sutra and asked Chao Qiankuan to bring the family members into the building. Then a flame fell from his fingertip into the big pit. The corpses in the pit were set ablaze. In less than 10 seconds, 26 corpses turned into white ashes. Guopai felt a trace of merit entering his body. Then, he shook his head again. Although there were still people dying, the people in the building didn't lose their confidence. When Guopai walked into the building, they would still smile at Guopai and ask about their condition. Guopai seriously explained their situation to everyone. It was already noon. Guopai returned to the camp. Futaba and the others should be arriving soon. He just happened to have something to give them. Guopao walked up to the high hill of the campsite. Looking at the 6 hills that were slowly moving towards him, he couldn't help but reveal a smile. That's right. There were 6 people. On the highest hill sat a monkey. The 6 people were slowly moving towards them. My lord, we are here. After you left that day, Lord Yuer told us to find you. But we didn't know where the northern borderline was, so we could only follow Xing Tian and the others. Futaba saw that Guopai was alone and directly spoke in human language. Guopai didn't feel uncomfortable. I asked Xing Tian to buy the things he wanted. See if it's enough. Mao Tu whispered. When the 6 men arrived at the base, a few students had already begun to unload their belongings. The items that the 6 men were carrying caused the students' eyes to widen. Mao Tu hugged the items that they were carrying. It would be a waste if they didn't use them. Who wouldn't use them if they didn't use them? They almost emptied a small supermarket in the city. Boss, are these 6 people still human? Each of them carried at least a ton of things. Why didn't they participate in the Olympics? Shinjati walked to Guopai and said softly. However, before Guopai said anything to Chunjati, the little monkey looked at Shinjati uncomfortably and squeaked in Guopai's ear. Emperor Jia, I'll tell you later. You don't have to help. If you need anything, ask Qianquan to find it for you. Guopai said with a smile. This was the first time Guopai smiled so happily after entering the epidemic area. Chunjati didn't ask any more questions and walked down the hill. Only Futaba and Guopai were left on the hill. Futaba, you can feel that Emperor Jia is infected, right? Guopai looked at Futaba and asked with a smile. Yes, he gives me a very uncomfortable feeling. Also, when I first arrived here, I felt uncomfortable. The few of them felt the same. If there's nothing else, let's leave this place. It's better to stay in the capital. The little monkey said to Guopai, Futaba, you should know how I treat you. Take this elixir. Guopai didn't say much. He took out a 7-colored elixir and handed it to Futaba. Futaba was completely different from other Xian beasts. It didn't have any problems secretly taking the form transformation elixir in the treasure room. It could easily absorb such an elixir. Futaba didn't stand on ceremony. It took the elixir and put it into its mouth. Then it jumped up and down on Guopai happily. I've given you the benefits. Now, I need you to lead the 6 of them to help me do something big. If this is done well, we can quickly return to the capital, Guopai said with a smile. Futaba looked at Guopai. He didn't immediately agree to Guopai's request. Although Guopai was smiling, it made Futaba feel uncomfortable. After a while, Guopai saw what Futaba was thinking. He sighed to himself. This 6-eared macaque's bloodline was not ordinary. It's not dangerous for you guys. It's just a small matter, Guopai said with a smile. Futaba nodded. You guys know Old Xiao and Old Li. Follow their auras and find them. Then, lead them to the place where you feel the most uncomfortable. When you get there, leave everything to the 2 old men. Can you do this? Guopai said with a smile. Futaba nodded. Naturally, they had lunch together. Guopao asked a few of the big guys to do the hard work again. They took out some of the food they brought and sent it to Block 1. He couldn't care less about the other places. His priority was to find the source of the disease. The food was easy to deal with. After the big men finished what Guopai told them to do, they all left with Futaba. Guopai wasn't worried that the disease would spread to them. According to his years of experience, the disease had never infected a Xian beast before. With them helping him find the source of the disease, Guopai could put all his effort into researching a cure. The formula he gave to Jia Yuan could help increase the immunity of those who weren't infected. But it turned out that the people who were already infected couldn't use the medicine. The medicine that was supposed to be sent to Beijiang by Jia Yuan was sent to the cities around Beijiang. Special medicine. He had to create a special medicine that could slow down the spread of the disease. Then, he could slowly solve the problem. Everything seemed to be going well. Chapter 452. Boss, 3 deaths today. After staying at the base for a while in the morning, Chunjati walked back to the base and whispered to Guopai when he was about to head to Block 1. Another 3 deaths. How are the others in Block 1? Guopai asked softly. If this continued, it would be even more difficult to deal with the situation once the people started to panic. Everyone is still calm because we have people coming over every day. The situation isn't too bad, but Chunjati wanted to say something, but he swallowed his words. But if we can't control the deaths, the people will panic, won't they? Guopai shook his head and said, it was lucky that they didn't riot after 3 consecutive deaths. Chunjati nodded after hearing Guopai's words. Let's go take a look at building number 1. I concocted a few more herbs in the past 2 days. Let's try them first. Hopefully, they will have some effect. After Guopao finished speaking, he led Chunjati to building number 1 again. Su Gang, do you think Dr. Wu can cure us? People are dying every day for the past few days. The medicine we take doesn't work at all. In Block 1, a few middle-aged men surrounded Su Gang and asked softly, I don't know, but the medical team comes over every day. They definitely haven't given up on us. Let's wait and see. We're just waiting for death anyway. Su Gang said softly, and the others nodded. I'm not drinking it. This medicine is too disgusting. I'm not drinking it. I'll die anyway. A young man suddenly stood up and shouted. The people who were about to drink the medicine with him looked at each other and put their cups on the ground. Guopai shook his head gently. What he was worried about had happened. Su Gang and the others stood up when they saw Guopai walking over. However, because of the young man's words, some of them looked at Guopai differently. This is the medicine I concocted recently. Let the people who are in the later stage of the infection take it first. The dosage for the children is halved. Wash the previous medicine before boiling, Guopai said softly. Su Gang took the medicine and nodded. Uncle Su, he's a liar. Don't believe him. He can't cure us at all. I'm not drinking this medicine. I'm not drinking any medicine in the future, the young man shouted and the crowd behind him started to discuss. Dr. Guo is not a liar. Look at me. I was sent here with the 2 people who died today. At that time, my condition was even worse than theirs. Look at me now. I'm much better. A girl stood up and said loudly. Chunjati nodded gently to the girl. Guopai suddenly understood what was going on. Chunjati gave the pill to the girl, which meant that the pill he gave Chunjati worked. However, he was just excited. Guopai's face sank again. The pill he gave Chunjati was not expensive, but it was unrealistic to refine it in large quantities. The biggest difference between pills and medicine was Samadhi True Fire. Guopai was probably the only person in the world who could use Samadhi True Fire. The girl's words made the group of people widen their eyes. Many people knew this beautiful girl. When she entered the building, her condition was indeed much worse than it was now. This also meant that Guopai's medicine was effective. The group of people became energetic again. Everyone, let's boil the medicine first. Everyone's physique is different. I can't guarantee that the effect will be the same, Guopai said softly, and the group of people nodded. Emperor Jia, let the girl follow us back to the base. Go to the base and help out a little. After Guopai finished speaking, he walked out of building number 1. Building number 1 became busy again. Xiaoqing, let's go. Follow us to the base. I said before that boss can definitely cure you, Chunjati said excitedly. He pulled Xiaoqing and quickly followed Guopai. Take this elixir. Don't give it to her. It won't work even if she takes it again. Guopai looked at Chunjati and said softly. After we return to the base, make 2 portions of the medicine you take each time. 1 for each of you. The elixir can only temporarily suppress the plague. It can't solve the root cause. We have to continue thinking of other ways, Guopai said softly. Then, he was stunned by the scene on a building not far away. It was on fire. About 50 meters away from building number 1, black smoke was coming out from the 80 to 90 floors of an unfinished building. Guopai could see people jumping down from the 10th floor. Guopai couldn't help but shake his head. He had to think of a way to control the plague and let all the infected and suspected infected people calm down. Otherwise, there would be chaos. 3 days later, Guopai asked Su Tu and Chunjati to follow him to the building behind to distribute the medicine. However, the situation on the other buildings was much worse than building number 1. There were fights, drinking, and even all kinds of sexual assaults. Guopai felt more and more uneasy. He could feel that if the medicine that had been modified 3 times still didn't have any obvious effect, these people wouldn't be able to hold themselves back. Su-Tu, what's going on over there? Isn't that the suspected infected area? Why do they open the gate? Guopai looked at Su-Tu and asked as he looked at the empty space where the iron net had been pulled up 100 meters away. There was now a large hole in the open space. Every Saturday, they will spontaneously send people they think are infected to the quarantine area. However, it seems that there are people in the suspected infected area who heard that medicine was being distributed here. Recently, there have been more and more people coming to the quarantine area to get medicine, Su-Tu said softly. We don't have enough people. I don't know when Elder Chiu and the others will be able to find the source of the plague. If they can't find that thing, the disaster is just beginning, Guopai couldn't help but say. Su-Tu nodded. Sir, we found a place that made us feel the most uncomfortable. Elder Chiu and Elder Li are standing guard over there. They asked me to inform you. Just as Guopai and Su-Tu were chatting, Futaba rushed to Guopai's side. He didn't care that Su-Tu was in front of him and said excitedly, Futaba, you've done well this time. Guopai was overjoyed when he heard Futaba's words. They had found the source of the plague and dealt with it first. At least, they could ensure that the plague wouldn't spread widely. This way, everything would be much easier. Boss, this monkey can talk. Su-Tu looked at Futaba with wide eyes. What's wrong with the talking monkey? Su-Tu, there are many things you don't know. I'll tell you slowly in the future. After saying this, Guopai pulled Su-Tu up. He ignored the shocked Su-Tu and flew up on his sword. Su-Tu shouted loudly. The little monkey looked at the human with disdain. Around 3 minutes later, under the little monkey's guidance, Guopai and the others stopped outside a cave at the top of the mountain. Little Bad, you've done well. Futaba and Tiger, this saved us a lot of effort. The thing you're looking for should be inside. However, with your current strength, going in is suicide, Chiu Shirshin said softly as he watched Guopai fly over on his sword. Seniors, you two are experienced and knowledgeable. What should we do about this? What methods do you two have? Don't hide them, Guopai said softly as he looked at Chiu Daoyuan and Li Shirshin. The source of the plague is also known as the source of evil. If you can get rid of it, you will naturally be able to obtain great merit. I believe you know about this. However, it seems that no one has ever succeeded in getting rid of the source of evil since ancient times. However, I remember that during the plague 10,000 years ago, before Old Li and I were sealed, a genius appeared in the heaven realm. He came up with an excellent way to deal with the source of evil. What method? Chapter 453. Guopai chatted with Chiu Li and the other two. Su-Tu, who came with Guopai on his flying sword, had vomited for a long time. At this time, he also pricked up his ears to listen to Chiu Daoyuan's explanation of how to deal with the plague. Everything in the world has yin and yang. This origin of evil is an item of extreme yin. If you want to deal with it, you must take out an item of extreme yang. Back then, that guy called Taoist Longhua seemed to have obtained 9 dragon eyes in the myriad dragon domain and directly sealed the origin of evil. This is the best way to deal with the origin of evil that we have seen back then. If you also have such an item, dealing with the origin of evil will be a piece of cake. Cough, cough, cough. Elder Chiu, why don't you say that after this kid's strength reaches the Tao affirmation realm, I will be able to deal with the origin of evil with a wave of my hand? Guopai whispered. 9 dragon eyes, and dragon eyes from the myriad dragon domain. Even when he was in the heavenly court back then, he didn't dare to go to the myriad dragon domain to ask for dragon eyes. Chiu Daoyuan and Li Shirshin helplessly shook their heads. There were other ways to deal with the origin of evil, but with the strength of these people, it was impossible to deal with the origin of evil. I can't wait. I have to go in and see what the origin of evil is. Guopai thought for a while, then suddenly stood up and said, Huda, I need you to go in with me. At least we can take care of each other. Little Bad, you can't go in. Huda and the others can't go in either. Although they won't be infected by the plague outside, they will definitely die if they go in. Guopai's voice had just faded when Guo Fanyu walked to a place 10 meters away from them. "Annie, why are you here?" Guopai walked towards Guo Fanyu and couldn't help but ask. There was only one reason for Guo Fanyu to say this, and that was because Shui Yunzi told her about the origin of evil. "Kid, you promised me that you would let me out. Now that you want to go in and throw away your life, I naturally won't agree." A sound transmission entered Guopai's mind. Who else could it be but Shui Yunzi? "Senior, you are the ancestor of water. This plague is related to the common people of the world. I don't know if Senior has any good methods. If not, this kid must go in and take a look. Otherwise, if the world is really in misery, the karma that Wu Xiao will bear will definitely trap me in the mortal world." Guopai said, "If you want to go in, I'll go with you. You have a lot of treasures on you. You could try to seal him. Although you can't completely destroy him, it's definitely possible to seal him for 10,000 years. By then, you might have already flown to the heavenly realm and asked for a few dragon eyes. It's not impossible to completely suppress him," Shui Yunzi said softly. "Seal it for 10,000 years?" Senior said softly. "I'm only at the peak of the core formation stage. It is impossible for me to seal the origin of evil for 10,000 years. Guopai shook his head and said, "Hee, don't you still have me? Of course, if you want to seal the origin of evil, you have to contribute something," Shui Yunzi said with a smile. "What do I need? I don't have anything with me," Guopai said softly. "Yin-Yang Twin Life Jade. As long as you're willing to contribute that pair of Yin-Yang Twin Life Jade, I have full confidence that I can seal the origin of evil. Then you can deal with the plague in front of you much easier. Of course, this depends on whether you are willing to contribute that pair of Yin-Yang Twin Life Jade. If it were me, this old man wouldn't be willing. Let's not delay. Let's go in now. I got this pair of Yin-Yang Twin Life Jade. If it can save the world, I don't mind taking it out," Guopai said with a smile, and walked straight to Qiu Daoyuan and the others. "Boss, you said you want to go in with Aunt Fanyu? No, this won't do. How about this? I will go in with you. Aunt Fanyu can wait outside. Uncle Qiu, Uncle Li, you two say something. You can't let boss take the risk like this." Su Tu said loudly, "Be careful. I will guard you outside. If you can deal with the origin of evil, little you, your merit will be heaven-defying," Qiu Daoyuan said with a smile. Li Shi nodded. Guopai said a few words to Futaba, and the 6 big men nodded. Guopai took out a pill and put in his mouth. He turned and entered the cave with Guo Fanyu. "Senior, you promised me that day that you would not occupy my aunt's divine sense. You have broken your promise." After entering the cave, Guopai felt a trace of cold air. Seeing that his aunt was not uncomfortable at all, he couldn't help but say, "Kid, I did not occupy your aunt's divine sense. The two of us are separated. I did not affect her in the slightest. If you don't believe me, you can ask your aunt," Shui Yunzi said with a smile. At this time, his aunt turned to look at him. "Little Bad, I have already said that you are not my nephew. No matter how outstanding Little Bad is, how can you compare to Big Brother Heaven? But now, I really hope that you are my good nephew." Cough, cough, cough. "Aunt, I just had a fortuitous encounter. If I'm not your nephew, who else can I be? You should know the current situation. You have someone even more powerful than the heavenly Jade Emperor in your body. You will be fine," Guopai said with a smile. Guopai did not expect that the second person in the world to believe that he was a deity would be Guo Fanyu. "Kid, take out all the things you showed off a few days ago. The 5 elements primordial umbrella and the fire cloud demon slaying painting are both good things. They can resist the filthy aura here," Shui Yunzi reminded. Guopai nodded and opened an umbrella-like thing with bells hanging on it. Guopai took a deep breath and felt much more comfortable. After walking for about 30 minutes, Guopai felt all the bells on the 5 elements primordial umbrella ring. Guopai slowly put away the primordial umbrella. He had never seen the origin of evil before, but he had heard people say that it had intelligence. It probably already knew of Guopai's existence. "Ha ha ha! Someone actually found this place. Ha ha!" A burst of laughter suddenly came from the cave. Guopai and Guo Fanyu stopped at the same time. "Come on in. We are already at the entrance. Why don't you come in? It was a man's voice just now, but now it was a woman's voice. It was incomparably coquettish. Guopai took a deep breath and steadied his mind. However, he had no intention of continuing forward. Big brother, big sister, come on in. Welcome to our home. A child's voice came. Senior, you are experienced and knowledgeable. What should we do now? Guopai asked through voice transmission. I didn't think that the origin of evil could speak. Little bad, this is troublesome. Shui Yunzi softly said. Shui Yunzi said softly, go in. We've already come this far, and there's no turning back. If there's any danger, I can sense it. There's a pool inside. If you can't beat him, jump into the water and find a way to lure him into the pool. You have the water repellent pearl on you, and I'll be underwater. Dealing with him will be easy. Guopai and Shui Yunzi exchanged a few words. Then, the two of them walked forward. A woman was lying on a stone bed. She was wearing a white dress, revealing some parts of her body that were indescribably coquettish. The woman looked at Guopai and said softly, I didn't think it would be such a handsome guy. What business do you have with me? Of course I'm here to look for Big Sister Beauty. Big Sister caused such a big commotion, so I naturally had to come and take a look. Chapter 454. Guofanyu looked at the woman on the stone bed and did not say anything. The woman stared at Guopai and did not pay any attention to him. Guopai looked fine on the surface, but his palms were sweating. The two were in a stalemate for 3 minutes. Ha 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 ha. Good boy, you are not charmed by me, but I don't know why you came to my mansion with such fanfare. The woman on the stone bed suddenly turned into a man. He was bare-chested and wore a huge pair of underpants. Compared to the world's bodybuilders, his body was not inferior. Although it is said that good and evil cannot coexist since ancient times, but seeing your excellency, I do not have the slightest intention to fight with you. I only hope that your excellency can stop. You have nothing to worry about in this cave. Why do you want to harm people? Guopai narrowed his eyes and said, Ha 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 ha. Boy, I want to harm people? Who did I harm? Which eye of yours saw me going to harm people? The man laughed heartily and asked, As for you guys, let's not talk about the 6 Xian beasts outside, and the 2 fellows that even I can't see through. You and the woman beside, you aren't easy to deal with. Yet, you're here to harm me. As his voice fell, a powerful pressure fell on Guopao's body. We don't have the ability to harm you. We just want to make a deal with you. I don't know if you like this pair of Yin-Yang twin jades. Guopai said and directly took out 2 pieces of Yin-Yang twin jades from a gourd. The originally powerful pressure disappeared by more than half. How is that possible? 10,000 years ago, I transformed into a physical body and searched the human world for nearly 10,000 years. It is impossible for me not to sense such a good thing. The source of evil roared. Boy, what kind of deal do you want to make? You could take out a pair of twin jades. You do have the capital to bargain with me, but don't play any tricks. I am much better than you in terms of despicable means. As soon as his voice fell, the man turned into the appearance of a child and stared at Guopai with his big eyes. Now is the time. Activate the Twin Life Jade and use the transcendent artifacts on you to set up a formation. I'll guard the Qin position and find a way to force this brat into the water. Then I'll seal this pool. Just as the man turned into a child, Master Shui Yunzi loudly transmitted his voice. Guopai didn't hesitate and directly threw the Twin Life Jade at the child. Take the Twin Life Jade first. As for what I want to talk to you about, haha, of course I want to kill you. You've caused such a huge commotion. If I let you continue, the world will be plunged into misery and suffering. Since ancient times, good and evil have never coexisted. Die! Guopai roared. With the Twin Life Jades in front and himself behind, he directly charged at the child. Human, you're cheating. You human warlocks are the same as before, but you're too weak. I'll kill you. The Twin Life Jade is mine. Everything on you is mine. And this woman, haha, I haven't tasted a woman for tens of thousands of years. Child, woman, man, the source of evil continuously changed its body. Guopai brought out the Devil Slayer sword. However, it seemed that he didn't have the upper hand. If it weren't for the formation set up by the transcendent artifacts, Guopai would have already been defeated by the source of evil. Human nature is evil. Otherwise, I wouldn't have used only tens of thousands of years to transform back into my true body. You think you're Buddha? You want to deliver all living beings from suffering? Haha, if I could deliver all living beings from suffering, I would have become a Buddha long ago. Die, die. The source of evil roared and grabbed the Devil Slayer sword in Guopai's hand. Guopai was shocked. This guy was much stronger than he had imagined. Jump into the pool and bring out the water avoidance bead. If he dares to follow, leave the rest to me, Shui Yunzi said loudly. Guopai directly jumped into the pool. You think I can't deal with you just because you're in the water? Today, I'll definitely suck you dry. Wuxiu tastes much more delicious than ordinary people. Ha! The source of evil took the form of a man and jumped into the water. Now is the time. I just sense this pool. It's at least 100 meters deep. It's enough. It's enough to seal a good-for-nothing source of evil like you. Shui Yunzi said loudly. Just as Shui Yunzi was about to borrow Guo Fanyu's body to set up the formation, Guo Fanyu's spiritual sense took the initiative. Guo Fanyu, what are you doing? Hurry up and lend me your body. I need to set up the formation, otherwise it will be too late. Shui Yunzi hastily shouted. Senior Shui, if you set up the formation, what will happen? A little bad. He's still inside the pool. If you set up the formation, little bad won't be able to come out, Guo Fanyu said softly. Since I'm going to set up the formation, I naturally have a way to get Guopai out. Hurry up and give me your body. Anything can happen if you delay. Master Shui Yunzi shouted. Guo Fanyu nodded lightly and handed over control of her body to Master Shui Yunzi. Humans, despicable humans, you dare play tricks. The origin of evil sensed a powerful pressure at the entrance of the pool that was about to seal the pool. It hurriedly gave up on chasing after Guopao and prepared to rush out of the pool. However, it was already too late. The heavenly water god-sealing formation was the formation that Shui Yunzi was most proud of. Not to mention trapping the origin of evil. Even when he set up formations with experts who had reached the 11th heavenly layer, very few people were able to break through his heavenly water god-sealing formation. Back then, the person who suffered a loss in his formation was the 11th heavenly layer great war god Wu Gang. Guopai, can you hear what I'm saying? The formation has been activated and I can't control it forever. Count yourself lucky. Today, I'll teach you the method of setting up this formation. Listen well, I'll teach you the heavenly water god-sealing formation first. Comprehend it well and don't worry about the outside world. A month inside the formation is only a day outside. When you can get out of the pool is up to you. As Shui Yunzi spoke, the heavenly water god-sealing formation was transmitted into Guopai's mind. Damn, you're worthy of being the ancestor of water. You can actually use water to such an extent. Amazing, truly amazing. Guopai couldn't help but exclaim after reading the heavenly water god-sealing formation. Under the pool, with the help of the water avoidance pearl, he set up an isolation formation. The source of evil tried to attack Guopai a few times before giving up. Since all Daos were of the same origin, Guopao was quite knowledgeable in the study of formations. After staying in the heavenly water god-sealing formation for 1 month and 7 days, he began to try to control the formation. Outside, Shui Yunzi couldn't help but nod. This mind-reading true monarch was indeed a promising talent. Break for me, Guopai roared and jumped out of the pool. The source of evil glared at the 3 people standing next to the pool and charged at the pool once more. Unfortunately, the formation didn't change at all. Senior, I'll accept this formation. As long as I can find a suitable body, I'll definitely help you get out. Furthermore, I can guarantee that you won't attract heavenly lightning. I'll let you enjoy yourself in the mortal world, said Guopai with a smile. It's your fortune to be able to seal the source of evil. Now, you'll have to rely on yourself. Although the source of evil has been sealed, if you want to obtain this heaven-defying merit, you'll have to deal with this plague. Otherwise, the great karma will also fall on you, said Shui Yunzi with a smile. As Guo Pao and the other two walked out, Shui Yunzi was once again shocked by Guo Pao's performance. Every 100 meters, Guo Pao would set up a formation. Not to mention the strength of each formation. When they finally reached the entrance of the cave, more than 100 formations were activated at the same time. Yang Jian and Wu Gang would probably be trapped inside the cave, and it would take them some effort to get out. Boss, I have good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? Chapter 455. As soon as Guo Pai came out of the cave, he saw Su Tu quickly walking towards him. Good news and bad news. Damn it, I worked so hard to get good news. It's only been a day and you gave me bad news. Then I'll listen to the bad news first. However, before Guo Pai could speak, Su Tu began to speak. Boss, let me tell you the good news first. The production line of the great doctors has started to produce Chinese medicine in batches. Because of the support of the government, from the raw materials to the final product, Chinese medicine will be popularized in China in about a week. Su Tu said excitedly, Bad news, good news. I want to know what's the bad news you're talking about. Did something happen in the quarantine area? Guo Pai frowned and said, he had a bad feeling since he came out of the cave. Boss, some people ran out from the back of the mountain. We don't know how many people ran out, but we haven't found any infected people in other places, Su Tu said softly. Damn it, isn't the back of the mountain guarded by Brother Xing? How could this happen? Give me the phone, I'll call Xing Tian, Guo Pai shouted. Bad news, it was really bad news. Boss, Brother Xing, said that there were nearly 10,000 people running towards the back of the mountain. Unless we kill them all, we can't stop them. A few people from the T-Rex group were also scratched by the suspected infected people, but they haven't been infected yet, Su Tu continued. Elder Chiu, elderly, take care of Su Tuesday. I'll go first. After saying that, Guo Pai directly flew towards the base on his sword. As soon as he reached the sky above the base, he saw a black mass of people. Guo Pai frowned again. It's only been a day. How could such a situation happen? Everyone be quiet. The herds are limited now, but our master has gone out to find a way. He will definitely not give up on anyone. Everyone be quiet. Chun Jiadi shouted. However, the group of people had already surrounded the base tightly. No one wanted to retreat. We don't care. Why can the infected people in the quarantine zone get the medicine, but we can't? Also, those soldiers in the back of the mountain. You want to trap us here until we die? We want to get the treatment now. Immediately, someone in the crowd shouted. If you want to live, then go back to where you are. If you want to die, then continue to surround this place. Guo Pai flew down from the sky and shouted at the people surrounding the base. Who are you? We want to see the person in charge here. We want Chinese medicine, the same Chinese medicine that the infected people drink. A middle-aged man who was leading the group shouted, I'm Guo Pai. I'm the one who provided the prescription. I can tell you. I can help you with your illness. I have already found the most effective treatment method. You will affect everyone's treatment if you stay here, Guo Pai shouted. The people surrounding the base looked at each other, but no one wanted to leave. There were people dying in the infected area every day. They were afraid. They were more afraid than the people in the infected area. I'm telling you, some of you ran outside. If there's a large-scale epidemic outside, I'll give up on the treatment here. You want to live, and I want you to live, but the main premise is that you cooperate. If you don't cooperate, I'll choose to save those who cooperate with me, Guo Pao said loudly again. The people surrounding the base started to panic. Yes, they did delay the medical team's treatment. They were in the wrong first. I'm telling you one last thing. Hurry up and find out the information of the people who ran outside. Otherwise, if there's an epidemic outside, whatever happens in the end will be your responsibility. After Guo Pai finished speaking, the crowd dispersed. Boss, you're finally back. There are large-scale deaths in the 4th and 7th buildings. The epidemic area has been a little chaotic recently. Chun Jiadi said nervously. Bring Xiao Xiao and Yao Shi to the municipal hospital to get the medicine. Follow this prescription and bring back as much as possible. I'll get Huda and the others to look for you. Go and come back quickly. Guo Pai handed a prescription that he had prepared to Chun Jiadi. Chun Jiadi, Xiao Xiao and Yao Shi drove the off-road vehicle to the Beijiang Municipal Hospital. Brother Xing, send a few people to the municipal hospital. I'm afraid that the Beijiang Municipal Committee will cause trouble. Get a few reliable brothers to protect Chun Jiadi and the others. They're going to the municipal hospital to get the medicine. Guo Pai watched Chun Jiadi and the others leave, and then called Xing Tian. Brother, my brothers are reliable. Don't worry, there won't be any more trouble. Xing Tian said loudly. I hope there won't be any more trouble. How many people ran out? Where would they go? Guo Pao muttered to himself, and then dialed Kai Tianyang's number. Chairman Kai, there are people who ran out from Beijiang. They are suspected to be infected. We can basically confirm that they are carrying the epidemic. We can't put them on the wanted list, as it will cause panic. We need the country to communicate privately with the local authorities. If they are found, immediately control them, Guo Pai said softly. Kai Tianyang immediately ordered the local authorities according to Guo Pai's instructions. The people who ran out were like time bombs that could explode at any time. This was what Guo Pai was most worried about. About 3 hours later, Chun Jiadi rushed back to the base with a car full of medicine. More than 10 portions had been distributed to the hospital in the city. More than an hour after they arrived, the 6 big men each carried a huge bag and moved back to the base like a small mountain. Take the wrap things and follow me. Guo Pai called Chun Jiadi, Chao Qinkuan, and Su Tu, who had already rushed back. They walked straight to the suspected infected area. The 6 people from Tiger University each carried a big pot and followed behind. Guo Fanyu brought a few girls to quickly organize the medicine. Emperor Jia, go and call the few people who led the group to surround the base the other day. As Guo Pai spoke, Chun Jiadi went to call them. The 6 people from Tiger University set up 6 big pots under Guo Pai's command. Some construction waste came into play. Add water and fill them up. Put 3 bags of medicine into 1 pot. There are no earthenware pots, so we can only boil it in a big pot. The effect will be a little worse. However, the source of the evil has been sealed. This kind of medicine is enough. Guo Pai muttered to himself. The 7 leaders who surrounded the base last time were brought in front of Guo Pai. Looking at the big pots of medicine boiling, a few of them revealed excited expressions. Organize your people. Line up. Go organize your people and line up. The children and women in front, and the men in the back. Everyone has their own utensils. These medicines can be brewed 12 times. The effect will be the same whether you drink them first or later. Don't fight over them. Do this well, and a few of you will be rewarded greatly. Guo Pai said loudly. The 7 men quickly ran to the gathering place. Then, the whole gathering place boiled with excitement. Boss, the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. These medicines are effective, right? Chun Jiadi couldn't help but ask softly. In the 2 days when Guo Pai left, there were too many people who lost their confidence in the first 10 buildings. The mass deaths in the 4th and 7th buildings made Chun Jiadi understand a lot of things. Don't worry, the matters in Beijiang are almost settled. The things we need to worry about now are not here. Chapter 456. While Chun Jiadi and Guo Pai were talking, one of the 7 leaders walked up to Guo Pai and handed a small notebook to him. Dr. Guo, this is the list of people who escaped from the back of the mountain that you asked us to compile. This is all the information we can find. Please take a look. I hope they didn't infect anyone else. Now that I think about it, if they did, we'll all be guilty, the man said with his head lowered. I hope they didn't infect anyone else. You can go back first and maintain order. After taking the medicine, clean up your residence. I'll teach you a body training technique later to strengthen your body and help you recover faster, Guo Pai said softly. 3 days. Although they added 6 cauldrons, it still took them 3 days to make everyone take 3 doses of medicine. Guo Pai had already given the information of the 18 people recorded in the notebook to Kai Tianyang. In 3 days, they brought back a total of 15 suspected patients who had escaped. There are still 3 people left. I hope nothing bad will happen to them. Guo Pai hadn't slept for 3 days. The medicine he concocted this time was very effective. The symptoms of the patients who had the earliest symptoms had disappeared, and the suspected patients were emotionally stable. The infected people in the 10 quarantine buildings hadn't died for 3 days. As Guo Pai said, the matter in Beijing was about to be resolved. Every time he appeared in the quarantine area, there would be waves of merit power entering his body, making him feel very comfortable. However, the more comfortable it was, the more uneasy Guo Pai felt that the 3 people who had escaped couldn't be found. 7 days later, the last patient in the later stage of the infection in building number 3 disappeared. At this point, the plague in Beijing was declared resolved. All the infected people only needed to stay in the quarantine area for a week. As long as they passed the examination at the municipal hospital, they could go home. Of course, the so-called examination at the municipal hospital was actually a simple physical examination done by a few students in Bugyaku. As for the plague in Beijing, the higher-ups dealt with many people. Li Boxiong, the secretary of the Beijing Municipal Committee, recovered and continued to be the secretary of the municipal committee. Song Qing, on the other hand, concealed the plague and his crimes were exposed, and he was imprisoned. Guo Pai and the 6 students stayed in Beijing for another 7 days. On Saturday afternoon, at Beijing's People's Square, the citizens of Beijing celebrated their rebirth. Everyone was singing and laughing in the square. The 6 students from Bugyaku were surrounded by the crowd. All kinds of words of thanks rang in their ears. The 6 students from Tiger University were also surrounded by the crowd. At first, they were not used to it, but slowly, they became one with the crowd. Their suppressed emotions for nearly a month were finally released today. However, the main character of the day, Guo Pai, looked as though his soul had left his body. After several failed divinations, Guo Pai closed his eyes. No one went to disturb Guo Pai, because even Li Boxiong knew that the miracle doctor who had saved their lives was too tired recently. Dr. Guo, why don't you go back and rest first? I'll get someone to send them to the hotel later. You guys have a good rest, and we'll have dinner together tonight. Li Boxiong said softly to Guo Pai. Guo Pai nodded lightly and walked down the stage and into the car. Just as Guo Pai was about to start the car, Guo Pai's satellite phone rang. Guo Pai suddenly became alert. An ominous premonition appeared in his mind. Oh no, the thing he was most worried about had happened. Little bad, I'm Kai Tianyang. Something happened. There was a hint of helplessness on the other side of the phone. A suspected infected person was found in Lian City. A person who ran away from Beijing was found by the local police at Lian City railway station. Yesterday, he was sent to Beijing. This morning, a police officer in Lian City had a slight headache. He is suspected to be infected with the plague. I got it. I'll go to Lian directly from Beijing. Don't send the infected person to Beijing. Just leave him in Lian. If one police officer is infected, it's fine. I'm afraid that it has spread on a large scale. Inform the Lian government to put the whole city on lockdown. Don't let them panic. Tell them about Beijing. The more panicked they are, the harder it will be to solve the problem. Guo Pai hung up after he finished speaking. Second brother, check the situation of the Chinese medicine sent to Lian. I want detailed figures. Also, contact Li Dafu and ask the Imperial Capital Police to help investigate if there is a second factory that produces Chinese medicine in the Imperial Capital. If you find it, what should you do? After Guo Pai finished speaking, he contacted Chen Jiadi and the others. He took the first flight to Lian City on the same day. Beat him to death. Zheng was infected by him. The few of us might have been infected by the plague too. Beat him to death. In the police station, several police officers were punching and kicking the person called Tang Qian who ran out of Beijing. At this time, a stranger entered the police station. If this is how you treat others, I think it's better if you don't save the plague. Guo Pai took off his sunglasses and looked at the police officers as he said, I'm Guo Pai. I just came from Beijing. You guys line up. I want to check on you. Bugyaku, Guo Pai, Dr. Guo. One of the police officers said softly, Dr. Guo, save us. We know it's wrong for us to hit him, but he's really too hateful. It's because of him that the entire Lian has been placed on lockdown. We can't leave or enter. The whole city is in a state of panic. Guopai didn't say much. Several police officers had already lined up. Guopai walked to Tang Qian's side and helped him to the stool. Then, he took out a small bottle of Chinese medicine from the bag that he had prepared in advance and handed it to Tang Qian. "Drink it. You should be fine after drinking it." Guopai said softly, "You shouldn't have run, but it's not all your fault. You don't have to blame yourself. After drinking it, think about the people you've met from Beijiang to Lian and where you've been." Tang Qian took the Chinese medicine handed by Guopai with a face full of shame. After drinking the Chinese medicine, he sat on the stool and began to tell Guopai about the places he had been and the people he had met. He also revealed a piece of good news to Guopai. Among the people who ran out together, one of them accidentally fell off the cliff. One of them must have died. This meant that in addition to Tang Qian, there was another person. Tang Qian still remembered that there was another person who climbed onto the coal cart with him. He jumped off in Lian, and that person should have gotten off the cart in the city along the road. "Go and get him something to eat. You guys take turns to come over. I'll take your pulse, and then inform everyone in your police station to gather in your conference room at 7 o'clock in the evening. I have something to arrange," Guopai said to several police officers. A young man ran out to inform the others, and the rest of the police officers began to let Guopai take his pulse. "You're not infected. Drink this bottle of Chinese medicine." "You're infected. Drink this bottle." 7 police officers. Guopai took 5 minutes. Things were not too bad. 4 people were infected, and 3 were not infected. Then, less than 10 minutes later, a room full of people stood. "Let's go to the conference room. The space here is too small," Guopai said softly. "Who has a mobile phone? Lend it to Tang Qian and let him report to his family that he's safe. Then stay in Lian for a few days. If there's nothing else, return to Beijiang." One of the police officers who began to beat Tang Qian violently handed the mobile phone to Tang Qian. Tang Qian looked at Guopai with a look of feeling. It seemed that the news was right. This young man was the fortune of Huaxia, the country's great Dr. Guopai. Chapter 457. The situation in the police station was not good. Nearly half of the 50 people had been infected. What was worse was that when Guopai asked the police to get the medicine, half of the Chinese medicine did not meet the requirements of Guopai. Guopai could not help but shake his head. "Go to a few more pharmacies and buy these separately. Also, if the pharmacies have Chinese medicine provided by the great doctors, buy some as well," Guopai said softly. A group of police officers drove out of the police station again. Fourth brother, because of time and other reasons, Lian City only received 150,000 free Chinese medicine. The 3 million will be distributed in the next week, Jia Yuan said softly on the other end of the phone. "Is there a second pharmaceutical company that produces the great doctor's medicine in or near the capital?" Guopai continued to ask. "Fourth brother, did Ling Ling tell you everything?" "Yes. When the great doctors started producing Chinese medicine, there were 2 other pharmaceutical companies in the capital that produced Chinese medicine reagents at the same time. Because we were busy sending out goods all over the country recently, we did not notice. But now the 2 companies have stopped production and the legal persons of the 2 companies have been arrested," Jia Yuan said loudly. "Damn it. People who make money from the national disaster deserve to die." Guopai could not help but shout, "Second brother, contact a student named Liu in Bugyaku, Wu Castle, and send someone to his house. The mountain behind his house is full of Chinese medicine. Organize some people who know Chinese medicine to collect the herbs and send them directly to Lian. The sooner the better." That afternoon, Chun Jiadi, Liu Yaoshi, and the other 5 students arrived at Lian. The work of distributing the medicine was directly handed over to them. Guopai began to observe the surroundings according to Tang Qian's instructions. Huda and the others had also arrived at Lian, but they could not help much now. Aunt, Elder Chiu, and Elderly did not come. It seems that the rumors are true. As long as people continue to be infected with the plague, the source of evil will slowly grow. Who knows when it will break out of the formation? When that time comes, it will be troublesome. Guopai thought to himself. Beijiang was not comparable to Lian. Just in terms of population, Lian City's population was more than 10 times that of Beijiang. If the plague spread on a large scale in Lian, the source of evil would probably reach adulthood very quickly. At that time, whether or not Shuianzi could stop, it was still uncertain. Boss, the Chinese medicine they brought here does not meet the requirements at all. Also, these bottles of Chinese medicine, I tried one just now. But Guopai reached out and crushed the medicine bottle. The group of students could not help but shrink their heads. It had been a long time since they saw their boss so angry. Even when they were in Beijiang, their boss did not throw such a big tantrum. Pick out the Chinese medicine that can be used. I have already contacted Second Brother. There will be freshly picked herbs sent here soon. I can teach you all how to use fresh herbs. Just wait. There is no use in being anxious now, Guopai said softly after he calmed his emotions. Little bad. How's Lian City? Kai Tianyang called Guopai in the evening. Guopai briefly explained the situation in Lian to Kai Tianyang. If there was no large-scale infection, the matter in Lian City could be settled in about a week. 3 suspected infected people have been found in Yunhua City. If what Tang Qian said is true, then all the people who escaped from Beijiang have been found. However, I am afraid that the situation in Yunhua City is more difficult than that in Lian City. Kai Tianyang's words made Guopai frown. Guopai naturally knew what Kai Tianyang meant. Yunhua City and Lian City were naturally different. One was a coastal city, while the other was an inland city. The biggest problem was that if what Tang Qian said was true, it was impossible for the last person to reach Yunhua City. There was only one possibility to find him in Yunhua City. After the train stopped at the station, this person took other means of transportation and passed through 2 other cities to reach Yunhua City. No one else was infected along the way, so it was still unknown. I understand. After the situation in Lian City stabilizes, I will immediately rush to Yunhua City. The government will be responsible for eliminating the panic of the citizens. As for the lockdown, just temporarily put Yunhua City under lockdown. Guopai shook his head and said, putting aside the economic losses for the time being, having such an open and developed coastal city under lockdown would have a great impact on the people of Huaxia. Huaxia has found the source of the infectious plague infection. The White House of the United States has made a decision today to deny all Huaxia citizens visas to the United States. We will temporarily stop all communication with Huaxia until the plague problem in Huaxia has been resolved. At 7 o'clock in the evening, the international channel reported on the plague in Huaxia. The United States was the first to react, and then a series of more than 10 international countries also reacted in the same way. Stop communicating with Huaxia? Then stop it. When a matter in Huaxia is over, I will have plenty of ways to make you regret it. Guopai looked at the television and said softly. However, he could not care so much at the moment. 83 infected people have been found in Lian City today, and more than 400 people were suspected to be infected. The most troublesome thing for Guopai was that there was no Chinese medicine that could be used to control the current situation. The next morning, at Lian City Central Hospital, a branch hospital that Guopai asked for from Lian City's government sent 13 infected people, and 31 suspected infected people had relapsed. Kai Tianyang called again. 3 suspected infected people in Yunhua City had been confirmed to be infected. Guopai shook his head helplessly. The plague was indeed not as simple as he thought. Mr. Chuanhe, I think that this is an opportunity for us. The doctors in Huaxia have been promoting the extensive and profound medical skills of Huaxia all day long. But now that the plague has appeared, they can't do anything about it. We can send a medical team to Huaxia. If we can control the plague, it will be a slap in the face to Huaxia's medical skills. Huaxia was in a mess. In a medical school in Japan, a few old men sat cross-legged as if they were discussing something. Miyamoto is right. This is an opportunity for us. But what if we can't handle the plague this time? Chuani Bunjiu said softly. If we can't handle the plague, and Huaxia can't handle it either, we can take advantage of the chaos in Huaxia to challenge Huaxia's traditional Chinese medicine. Didn't Hua Xia say that he wanted to take advantage of the situation? Now is the time to kill him while he's down, Miyamoto Taro said loudly. Okay, then let's take a gamble. If we can win against Hua Xia in terms of traditional Chinese medicine, it will be of great significance to the development of traditional Chinese medicine in the future. You can choose anyone from the medical school. You must take advantage of this opportunity to ruthlessly suppress Hua Xia's arrogance. Chuan He Bunju, the dean of the College of Traditional Chinese Medicine in Japan, said loudly. Hua Xia did not know that the Japanese, who had originally suspended all communication with Hua Xia, had sent a medical team of 10 people to assist Hua Xia in dealing with the plague this time. Boss, Liu is here. He brought 3 trucks of traditional Chinese medicine. Don't worry and go to Yanhua. Leave this to us. I guarantee that nothing will happen here. Chen Jeti said excitedly just after lunch. The last time Guo Pai came back from Fire Cloud Cave and went to Wu Castle, he did not see Li Yu. Today, he saw Li Yu again. It had been more than 2 years since they last met. Boss, I came in time this time, right? Li Yu is no longer the shy little boy from Takashi University's medical school. Looking at the 3 trucks of traditional Chinese medicine that Li Yu brought, Guo Pai could smell the medicinal fragrance from afar. Guo Pai gave this big boy, who was also his disciple and friend, a big bear hug. I'll leave this to you guys. Chapter 458. Guo Pai gave a few simple instructions to his students. Due to their experience in making medicine in Beijiang, the students were considered to be talented and intelligent. In about half an hour, they already knew how to use this batch of medicinal herbs. Guo Pai did not choose any mode of transportation. He immediately rode his sword. This was the fastest way to reach Yanhua. Dad, I'm going to Imperial Capital this month. The whole city is under lockdown now. What happened? My classmates in Imperial Capital are still waiting for me. In a small villa in Yunhua City, a teenager asked his father, You can't go anywhere these days. Just stay at home obediently. Didn't you see the news? A suspected patient of the plague from Beijiang has appeared in Yunhua City. It's safest for you to stay at home now, the middle-aged man said to the teenager. I thought it was something serious. You won't let me go out just because of this small matter? Let me tell you, I've seen the middle-aged man who was infected with the plague in Yunhua City. I even had physical contact with him. I'm perfectly fine now, am I? You adults don't have any medical knowledge at all. If you can get infected with the plague just by coming into contact with it, then Yunhua City will probably be engulfed by the plague sooner or later, the teenager said loudly. The middle-aged man looked at his son and put down his chopsticks. He then made a call. Li Feng, I'm in Huaqiang. Xiao Yin came into contact with the infected person who ran out from Beijiang. He's at home now, and we all had physical contact with him. Ask the people from the city hospital to come to our house and give us a comprehensive examination. If there's a problem, we'll all go to the quarantine area for observation. Wen Huaqiang, the mayor of Yunhua City, immediately called his secretary. Dad, are you crazy? I'm not going to the quarantine area. If I go there, even if I'm not infected with the plague, I'll still die there. I want to go to Imperial Capital, Wen Yin shouted. Stay in your room. You can't leave your room before the results are out. I'm telling you, think carefully about who else you've been in contact with after that person. Write down all the people you've been in contact with in the past 2 days. Brat, you're in big trouble, Wen Huaqiang said loudly. After a suspected infected person appeared in Yunhua, a small announcement would be broadcasted on Yunhua's local news every day. There was a picture of the person who ran to Yunhua from the northern borderline. It was hoped that for the safety of the citizens of Yunhua City, the citizens of Yunhua City who had come into contact with that person would go to the designated area in Yunhua City for a checkup. More than 10 people had already gone for a checkup, and they were temporarily staying in the quarantine area. At this time, Wen Yun saw his father's expression and immediately became nervous. Only now did he know that he had made a big mistake. Dad, I'll tell you everything. Wen Yun said nervously. That day, I went to the train station to pick up a classmate. I met that person at the train station. At that time, I thought he was a normal person. He said that he was robbed when he just arrived in Yunhua. and he lost all his money. I gave him 200 RMB, and he shook my hand. After that, I picked up my classmate, and we went to Elon KTV. We even met a lot of people. When Huaqiang shook his head helplessly, he had neglected to discipline his children in the past few years. His eldest daughter was now abroad and had nothing to do, but his youngest son was now in his 3rd year of high school, and he was always outside. He did not expect that the plague had something to do with him. The father and son chatted for a while. Then, when Huaqiang made a few phone calls, the few people who had been in contact with Wen Yun were immediately put under control. Elon KTV was also temporarily closed for rectification. The news that the mayor was suspected of being infected with the plague had also quietly spread in Yunhua City. The atmosphere in Yunhua City suddenly became a little tense. Let's land in school first. Guo Pai flew above the clouds on his sword. Almost an hour later, he was already above Yunhua City. He directly landed on the top floor of the tallest building in Yunhua City No. 1 High School. 2 high school students who were smoking were so scared that they did not even feel the cigarette, but burning their fingers. The others had their backs facing Guo Pai. Otherwise, there would be more people who were scared. You've been bad since you were young. What are you going to do when you grow up? What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a god before? After Guo Pai finished speaking, he disappeared in front of the teenagers. Qin Feng, hit me. That person just now. I felt like he came from the sky, right? A teenager came back to his senses and said loudly, "Slap, slap, slap. Brotherly, it's true. It really seems like it's true. Does it hurt?" I saw that he was stepping on a long sword. That seems to be the legendary sword flight. Young Master Qin said softly. Master, I want to acknowledge him as my master. The 2 teenagers shouted at the same time. As they spoke, they directly ran downstairs. However, Guo Pai had already disappeared. The other teenagers on the rooftop who did not see Guo Pai were completely stunned. What are these 2 brothers doing? They were fine just now. Are they infected by the plague? I'm looking for the person in charge of Yunhua City. After Guo Pai walked in the municipal office building, he said these words like a bandit. A fresh graduate at the reception desk looked at the teenager who was younger than her in surprise. However, she did not pay attention to Guo Pai. The situation in Yunhua City was not very good at the moment. She did not want to make mistakes at this critical juncture during her internship. Stop. Who are you looking for? I'll register for you first. Then, I'll call you to inform him, Zhao Mingyu said loudly. Then, she quickly stopped Guo Pai. Tell the secretary of your municipal committee that Kai Tianyang asked him to come and see me. I'll wait for him here. Take this with you so that you won't get scolded, Guo Pai said and threw the Dragon King's token to Zhao Mingyu. Handsome, are you kidding? Are you going to see Secretary Chu just because you have a big token? Who are you? There's a plague in Yunhua City now. The leaders are having a meeting. Can you stop causing trouble? Zhao Mingyu weighed the token in her hand and said loudly, Little you, call Secretary Chun and tell him that Japan has sent a medical team to Yunhua City to help solve the plague problem. Tell him to inform Secretary Chu. They'll be here in about 10 minutes. A middle-aged man walked up to Zhao Mingyu and said, Director Zhang, this person wants to see Secretary Chu. Can you let him in? Zhao Mingyu said softly, Nonsense. We're in a special period now. What's going on at the gate? How can we let a stranger enter our municipal committee building? I'll call the guards and ask them to take him away. You go and inform Secretary Chun and ask him to inform Secretary Chu. The middle-aged man who was addressed as Director Zhang by Zhao Mingyu glanced at Guo Pai and felt that he looked familiar. However, he still dialed the number of the guards. Director Zhang, this thing belongs to him. Take it first. I'll go up and inform Secretary Chun. Zhao Mingyu said, and threw the Dragon King's token to Director Zhang. Little you, you said that this thing belongs to this young man? Director Zhang said with a trembling voice. Zhao Mingyu nodded doubtfully. This thing belonged to him. He threw it to her just now. There was nothing wrong with it. You must be Club Master Guo Pai. Please wait for a moment. I'll go and inform Secretary Chu immediately. Little you, please receive Club Master Guo first. I'll go and look for Secretary Chu. Director Zhang ran upstairs quickly as he said that. What about the Japanese medical team? Director Zhang, Director Zhang. Zhao Mingyu shouted. However, Director Zhang ran upstairs to the meeting room without turning his head. Japanese medical team? Looks like I'll have to go out more after I'm done with my work in Huaxia. How dare a country as small as a bird's egg come and cause trouble in Huaxia? They're really reckless. Chapter 459. Guopai and Zhao Mingyu had barely exchanged a few words when they heard a commotion upstairs. A square-faced man walked into the hall with more than 10 people behind him. Dr. Guo, you're finally here. Please save Yunhua. The square-faced man grabbed Guopai's hand and said excitedly, Chu Yi. Guopai looked at the man in front of him and asked softly, Yes, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Chu Yi, the secretary of Yunhua City's municipal committee. Let's talk inside, Chu Yi said and gestured for them to enter. Guopai did not stand on ceremony and walked up the stairs first. Little Yu informed the leaders of the Health Bureau and a few other bureaus who had a meeting yesterday to come to the conference room. You don't have to inform Mayor Wen first. Zhao Mingyu nodded. This man who looked younger than her was the hospital owner of Bugyaku, Guopai. I actually stopped Guopai. As she thought about it, Zhao Mingyu's face turned red. She could not help but feel a little happy. Then, she quickly contacted the relevant personnel according to Chu Yi's instructions. Guopai had just sat down in the conference room when a group of leaders from various departments in Yunhua who were related to the epidemic walked in one after another. All of them looked very serious. It seemed that the epidemic had caused them a lot of trouble recently. This is the hospital owner of Bugyaku, Dr. Guopai. The epidemic in Beijiang has basically been resolved with Dr. Guo's help. I received a call from Chairman Kai yesterday, saying that Dr. Guo would be here today. I didn't expect him to be here so early. Everyone, let's welcome Dr. Guo, Chu Yi said loudly. The audience applauded. Although Guopai was very young, the incident of the epidemic in Beijiang was later reported on the Central News. One of the videos was of Guopai, so everyone was not unfamiliar with Guopai. Let's get to the point. I want to know the current situation in Yunhua City. I hope one of you can tell me. I want to be precise. Guopai waved his hand and said softly. Chu Yi nodded and glanced at the director of the Health Bureau. Then, a middle-aged man stood up. However, before he could speak, the door of the meeting room opened. Zhao Mingyu stood at the door with a helpless expression. Xiaoyu, what's the matter? Why are you so flustered? We're in the middle of a meeting. Chu Yi said loudly. Zhao Xiaoyu was the granddaughter of his former teacher. She passed the exam and entered the publicity department of the municipal party committee. She helped the municipal party committee temporarily. Chu Yi took good care of her. However, at this juncture, Chu Yi could not help but shout. Secretary Chu, the Japanese medical team, is outside. They want to see you. They said that they're here because of the epidemic in Yunhua City. What do you think we should do? Zhao Mingyu said with a tinge of grievance. The leaders were in a meeting, so she naturally couldn't act on her own. She could only report to them. Since they're here to help, let them in. I like to see what tricks these Japanese have up their sleeves during the plague in Huaxia. Chu Yi didn't say anything. Guopai, who was beside him, said softly. Zhao Mingyu stared at Guopai with her eyes wide open and then looked at Chu Yi. Just do as Dr. Guo says. Let them in. After Chu Yi finished speaking, he turned his head and looked at Guopai. We didn't know about the Japanese beforehand. Dr. Guo, please don't take offense. I know. Director Zhang just received the letter and didn't have the time to tell you. Just let the Japanese come. If they're really here to help, then it's fine. I happen to be short of helpers here. But if they're here to cause trouble, then I won't be polite to them, Guopai said with narrowed eyes. At this time, 10 Japanese people, 7 men and 3 women, walked into the meeting room. Is this how you Huaxia people treat your guests? The leader of the Japanese looked at the people on the rostrum and asked loudly in fluent Huaxia. We came here from Japan to help you solve the plague problem, and you treat us like this. No one came to pick us up when we arrived at the port. No one cared about us when we went to the municipal party committee. If we knew this, we wouldn't have come. You can leave if you don't want to come. It seems that you came to visit Huaxia on your own. Guopai narrowed his eyes and said, If you want help, then find a place to sit down. I'm talking to you. What are you looking at? Can't you understand my words? I'm Guopai from Bugyaku. We're all doctors. This time we have the same purpose. I hope we can cooperate to solve the plague. Guopai. This young man was Guopai. The group of Japanese people, whether they understood Chinese or not, all looked at Guopai. Guopai himself didn't know that his name was very famous in the Japanese traditional Chinese medicine circle. The news that the Japanese people spent $8 billion on a snow mussel pill had already spread in the Japanese traditional Chinese medicine circle. Seeing him today, they didn't expect him to be so young, just like the rumors said. Sit down. When the Huaxia people finish talking, we'll have a good talk with this Guopai. The leader of the Japanese people sat in a row of chairs at the back and spoke softly to the others in Japanese. Tell me about the situation in Yunhua City, Guopai said softly to the director of the Sanitary Bureau. As of this morning, 56 people have been confirmed to be infected with the plague in Yunhua City. 317 people are suspected to be infected, and 1,145 people have been quarantined. These people have been separated and quarantined. However, I just received a call from Mayor Wen. His son came in contact with infected people in Beijing. It's hard to calculate the exact number of infected people now, Director Pang of the Sanitary Bureau said softly. Guo Shuai nodded, and his eyes fell on the Japanese people again. I've already developed the medicine to treat the plague. If you want the formula, I can give it to you. If you have other methods, you can come in contact with the patients personally and treat them according to your methods. But I have to tell you one thing. If you dare to use the medicine recklessly, I can't guarantee that you'll be able to leave Huaxia alive. Guopai said loudly. A group of people, including Chu Yi, who had been in the officialdom for several years, were stunned by Guopai's imposing manner. They had also come in contact with foreigners, but their attitude towards foreigners was generally more friendly. They didn't expect that the dojo master Guopai in Bugyaku would treat them with such an attitude. It was very satisfying. A few Japanese people who could understand Huaxia's language had ugly expressions on their faces. The leader of the Japanese people didn't say anything. His gaze fell on a rather good-looking Japanese woman in the group. I'm a doctor from the Sakura Association. We came to Huaxia this time purely to support Huaxia in solving the plague. Since Dojo Master Guopai has already formulated a special medicine, we hope that Dojo Master Gua can let us take a look at the prescription. We can help, the Japanese woman said softly in Huaxia's language. Guopai nodded gently. Cooperate best. If you dare to play any tricks, I don't care whether you're a woman or not, and a Japanese woman at that. Guopai then said a few more words to Chu Yi. Guopai walked out of the municipal party committee building. According to Guopai's request, he set up a temporary office in a place in Yunhua City that was waiting to be developed. He also gathered many Chinese medicine practitioners in Yunhua City to help here. Although Yunhua City was a coastal city, the quality of the Chinese medicine in the pharmacies was much better than that in Lian City. They helped Guopai solve a lot of problems. Thank you for your hard work. Once the plague in Yunhua City is solved, I'll treat everyone to a good meal. But now, everyone has to work harder. The more Chinese medicine we decoct, the easier it will be to solve the problem in Yunhua City, Guopai said softly to the group of Chinese medicine practitioners who were busy. Dojo Master Guopai, you're being too polite. We're locals of Yunhua City. You came all the way here to help us. We should be the ones thanking you. Besides, you've really made Chinese medicine proud this time, an old Chinese medicine practitioner who was over 60 years old said loudly. The group of people around him nodded. Miss Mina, how feasible is the prescription given by Huaxia to treat the plague? A Japanese doctor asked the female doctor softly. That Guopai is a real doctor. Putting aside the fact that he's from a different country, I think he's the best doctor I've ever seen. Chapter 460. As soon as the Japanese woman's voice fell, the group of Japanese doctors widened their eyes. Yoshikawa Mina was known as the genius of Japanese traditional Chinese medicine. She was an outstanding traditional Chinese medicine practitioner in this century. But now, Mina's evaluation of Guopai was that he was the best doctor. How could the Japanese traditional Chinese medicine practitioners not be surprised? Miss Mina, what should we do now? An old Japanese man asked softly. Help the people of Hua Xia distribute and decoct the medicine. Let's deal with the plague first. I don't have the confidence to win against this Guopai in terms of medical skills. I want to observe him for the next few days, then challenge him after the plague is over, Yoshikawa Mina said softly. Yoshikawa Mina said softly. The few elders nodded their heads. However, Mina didn't notice that the leader of the Japanese group had a trace of coldness in his eyes. Dr. Gua, for more people have been diagnosed with the plague. Guopai was in a temporary tent. Every day, someone would report to Guopai about the situation in Yunhua. Basically, every day, there would be suspected patients who were diagnosed with the plague, and they would take away their traditional Chinese medicine. It seemed that things were developing in the direction that everyone expected, but Guopai could not be happy because the plague had been going on for nearly a month. It was very likely that a more serious problem would arise: mutation. If the plague mutated, the special medicine that he developed could no longer be taken. Under the joint efforts of several students, the plague had been suppressed in Lian City. The oral medicine given by great doctors had also been fully distributed to Lian City. 4 out of the 7 students remained in Lian for observation for a week. Chun Jiadi, Chao Qiankuan, and Liu had already rushed to Yunhua City. Little bad, it's your aunt. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Guopai suddenly received a call. Guo Fanyu was still in Beijiang. The call at this time made Guopai's heart tighten. Aunt, something happened in Beijiang? Guopai asked softly into the phone. Senior Shui wants me to tell you that the aura of the origin of evil has become much stronger recently. The situation outside is not what you think it is. There will be an even bigger epidemic within the 3 of you. He wants you to be prepared to resist the epidemic. If necessary, try to contact the Heavenly Court. They won't just sit by and do nothing, Guo Fanyu said softly. Guopai nodded. After chatting with Guo Fanyu for a while, he became even more restless. He already knew that the plague couldn't be solved so easily. But if even Shui Yunzi wanted the Heavenly Court to intervene, this matter would be very troublesome. Is everything all right in the capital? Guopai called Bugyaku and told everyone about his situation. Then, he let Yuer answer the phone. The capital is fine, but I've been feeling uneasy recently. Big brother bad guy. Is something going to happen? Yuer asked softly. The plague seems to have been solved very well, but Shui Yunzi said that the aura of the origin of evil has become much stronger recently. Something more serious will happen in the future. You want me to contact the Heavenly Court if necessary, Guopai said softly. He didn't hide anything from you, It seems that the great merit isn't so easy to obtain, Yuer said softly. Ahem, my good wife, you're still thinking about merit. I'm worried about you. You're feeling uneasy now. I'm afraid that if the Heavenly Court comes, they'll find out that you came down to the lower realm without permission. At that time, the crime won't be light, Guopai said softly. Yuer was delighted. This mind-reading true monarch really knows how to coax girls. You don't have to worry about my affairs. Since my sister asked me to come down, no one in the Heavenly Court will dare to interfere. However, big brother bad guy, are you really willing to give the great merit to others? Yuer asked with a smile. Guopai couldn't help but shake his head. Yes, he was cultivating in the human world. With the current spiritual energy in the human world, it was impossible to ascend without some special opportunities. His yin-yang twin life, Jade, was used to seal the origin of evil. If this merit still didn't belong to him, he would really suffer a great loss this time. Dr. Guo, I'm Mina. May I come in? Just when Guopai and you were talking on the phone, Yoshikawa Mina knocked on Guopai's door. You heard it clearly on the other side of the phone. Big bad guy, I thought you were busy. I didn't expect you to hook up with another woman outside. Her voice is quite sweet. Is it that Japanese woman? I heard from Emperor Jia and the others that a very good-looking woman came to the Japanese medical team. Yuer shouted on the other side of the phone. Yuer, it's not like what you think. Listen to my explanation. Hey. Guopai wanted to say something, but Yuer had already hung up the phone. Guopai shook his head helplessly. However, he still got up and opened the door for Yoshikawa Mina. If this Japanese woman was seen by Chun Jiadi and the others, who knew what they would say? Master Guopai, it's so late. Sorry to disturb you. Yoshiko Mina said softly and bowed deeply to Guopai at a 90-degree angle. I don't know what's the matter, Miss Mina. Thank you for your help in the past few days. Otherwise, things in Yunhua wouldn't have gone so smoothly. I'll tell the higher-ups about Miss Mina and your medical team's contributions to Huaxia. When the time comes, they might give Miss Mina an honorary citizen of Huaxia, Guopai said with a smile. Master Gua, you could just call me Mina. I've heard of your medical skills in Japan. This time, I came to Huaxia for two purposes. The first is to help solve the plague problem in Huaxia. The second is to challenge you, Mina said softly. After the plague is over, I'll give you a chance to challenge me, but not now. Guopai said softly. If there's nothing else, Miss Mina, I think you should go back. After all, it's not good to appear in a man's room at night. Master Gua, I have something to tell you. Mina bit her lip and said, the epidemic in Yunhua City seems to be under control, but I've been feeling very confused recently. I feel that something bigger is going to happen. I've told a few people on my medical team, but they can't understand. That's why I came here today to tell you. You're an excellent doctor. To have such a feeling means that you've devoted yourself to resolving the epidemic. Guopai said softly, it's about as you think. Within 3 days, a pandemic of a larger scale will occur in Huaxia. I'm not sure if this disaster can be resolved by then. Even Master Gua can't control it? If that's the case, then Huaxia is really going to face a great disaster. Mina bit her lip and said, if the epidemic in Huaxia can be completely resolved this time, you can go to Bugyaku to look for me. I'll make an exception and take you in as my disciple. As for you wanting to challenge my medical skills, maybe you'll understand when you get to Bugyaku. Your words are really a joke. I don't mean to belittle you at all. You can go back first. I'll think about what to do next. After Guopai finished speaking, he slowly closed his eyes. Mina nodded and walked out of Guopai's room. She then closed the door. The next morning, the official in charge of statistics in Yunhua City walked into Guopai's room and reported to Guopai about the epidemic in Yunhua City yesterday. Looking at the smile on the official's face, Guopai could not feel happy at all. The problem in Yunhua City should be resolved soon, but a greater danger had just begun. Boss, do you think you should prescribe me some medicine? I've been feeling uneasy since last night. I keep feeling that something is going to happen. My eyelids keep twitching, and I feel terrible. Liu walked into Guopai's room early in the morning and said softly, Liu, call Emperor Jia and Qingquan over. I think they should be feeling the same as you. It's not because of you. Something big is going to happen. Chapter 461. A few students surrounded Guopai. They looked at Guopai with a solemn expression. None of them said anything. They just looked at Guopai quietly. You've all felt it, right? You're right. If you can feel discomfort, it means that your medical skills have improved a lot, Guopai said softly. Guopao rarely praised these students, but now that he was praising them like this, they couldn't feel happy. Boss, don't talk to us in riddles anymore. You could just tell us if there's anything. We've learned a lot from the plague this time. We're no longer the students in Bugyaku who only know how to get medicine. Shunjeti stood up and said softly. The other students nodded. Guopai smiled with satisfaction. The plague mutation will appear in the next 3 days. The epidemic in Yunhua City is no longer a threat. We don't know which city the plague mutation will happen in, but one thing is for sure. The plague mutation this time will be a disaster for Huaxia, Guopai said softly. The students looked at each other. Their eyes were not filled with worry, but with determination. Guopai nodded gently. Chun Jiadi, inform Bugyaku to leave Guotangyuan behind to guard the medical center. The rest of you, gather at Yunhua City within a day. Liu Yaoshi, inform Wu Castle, Bugyaku, and contact President Lin Changtian of the Chinese Medicine Association to help guard the medical center. The rest of you, gather at Yunhua City within a day. Liu, contact my second brother, Jia Yuan. You guys contact all the Chinese medicine suppliers in the country. We have to be fully prepared before the plague mutation appears. Su 2, go to Beijiang this afternoon. Look for my aunt, Elder Chiu, and Elder Li. I want to know what's going on over there as soon as possible. Chao Qingquan, contact the Great Doctors Company and a few big families in the capital. If they need to produce new drugs, you'll supervise them. I don't want to see any fake drugs appear in the epidemic area. After Guopai finished speaking, he slowly stood up. The source of evil, the plague mutation. Come, I'm in a human world. There's no poison in the world. I don't believe that I, a banished immortal, can't handle the source of evil. If I let the heavenly court send people, where will my face go? After hearing Guopai's words, the students all went out to do their own things. Yoshikawa Mina looked at the busy Huaxia and nodded at Guopai. Guopai did not have a bad impression of this Japanese woman. He nodded back as a greeting. However, the other Japanese were not so friendly. The leader of the Japanese even looked at Guopai with a sneer. He had already told the Japanese about the plague in the capital. The Japanese Chinese medicine industry was shocked. They did not expect Huaxia to be able to solve the plague so easily. However, they had already made the next step of the plan. A huge conspiracy was in the works. Mother of Asterisk King Japan, if you guys want to cause trouble at this juncture, I don't mind teaching you a good lesson. After Guopai finished speaking, he went straight to the quarantine area of Yunhua City. There were not many people there now. Guopai checked everyone's pulse. The plague mutation should not happen in Yunhua City. The next morning, Yunhua City received a group of special guests. People from the capital and Wu Castle from Bugyaku gathered in Yunhua City. Chu Yi personally received these people. At that time, Chu Yi only said one sentence. Huaxia is lucky to have such a doctor in Huaxia. Boss, when you went to Wu Castle last time, I went out to practice medicine. We haven't seen each other for 2 years. During these 2 years, I didn't peep at you. I'm always open to you. Pei Yulong from Bugyaku from Wu Castle said with a smile. The others nodded one after another. Guopai waved his hand in satisfaction. You guys are the first batch of Bugyaku students that I selected. I'm very satisfied with your performance in the past 2 years. I'm proud of all of you, Guopai said loudly. After Guopai finished speaking, the faces of the group of students around him were filled with a unique kind of pride. They indeed had the right to be proud. After 2 years of training, they had already made a name for themselves in the field of Chinese medicine. They were even comparable to some old Chinese medicine doctors. Even the president of the Chinese Medicine Association, Lin Chantian, had a very high opinion of this group of students. Today, I called all of you to Yunhua City not for a vacation or small gathering. This time, I called all of you here for a big battle, a battle that concerns the life and death of Huaxia, Guopai said loudly. The group of Bugyaku students widened their eyes. Chun Jiadi and a few others had participated in the incident in Beijiang and Lin, so they more or less knew about the plague. The others only knew about the plague through news reports. However, even Chun Jiadi and a few others did not expect that the big event that Guopai mentioned would actually concern the life and death of Huaxia. Moreover, they would become the group of people who would be in charge of Huaxia's life and death. From today onwards, all of us will be in the base. I'll tell all of you about the plague. I hope that all of you will listen and ask more questions, because once the plague breaks out on a large scale, each of you will have to take responsibility alone. I hope that all of you can be like me and solve all the problems in the epidemic area, Guopai said loudly. All the students nodded one after another. Master Gua, can I listen in during your lecture? After dinner, Guopai was about to give a lecture to a group of students. Yoshikawa Mina walked up to Guopai and asked softly, if you want to listen, you can find a place at the side. If you have any questions, you can also raise them. The plague this time concerns the life and death of Huaxia. If you're willing to help Huaxia this time, I, Guopai, will owe you this favor, Guopai said softly. Guopai knew very well about Yoshikawa Mina's medical skills. Compared to a few outstanding students, she was not inferior to Guopai's medical skills. Yoshikawa Mina nodded gently. When Guopai appeared in front of a group of students, Yoshikawa Mina found a secluded place and sat down. The most powerful part of the plague is that it's highly contagious. Just like the plague in Beijing, tens of thousands of people were infected in a very short period of time. The mutation of the plague this time will also be highly contagious. It might even surpass the original plague, Guo Pai said softly. It's impossible to completely eliminate the plague during its peak period. There's only one way during the peak period of the plague, and that's to slow down the spread of the plague. There's only one way, and that's to effectively isolate the plague. Physical isolation is a good method, but I'm going to teach you a different method now, and that is to isolate the plague itself. Guo Pai taught the new method to a group of students. Everyone, including Yoshikawa Mina, stare with their eyes wide open. Boss, you're right, aren't you? Using the suspected infected people to form a line of defense. Is this also possible? Wouldn't this speed up the outbreak of the suspected infected people? Chunjiati asked softly. Is that what Dojo Master Go means? It's like putting out a fire in the grassland. Using fire to form a circle and let the healthy people stay inside. This way, we can preserve the last hope, Yoshikawa Mina said softly. Guo Pai nodded. This Japanese woman was indeed a genius in the field of traditional Chinese medicine. She had thoroughly understood the few questions he had asked earlier. What other methods do you know to deal with the plague? You can tell them. Guo Pai spoke for almost an hour. Everyone who listened to Guo Pai's lecture learned a lot. At this time, Guo Pai looked at who had accompanied the Bugyaku students here. You've already explained it thoroughly. If there are other methods, I'd like to talk about the problem of time. Said softly. The control period of the plague is different at different times. You can let the patients or suspected patients take the medicine at night. This will allow you to know if the Chinese medicine is effective against the plague. I won't say anything else. Chapter 462. On the third day, Guo Pai stood up from his meditation at dawn. He watched the sun rise slowly in the distance, and the uncomfortable feeling in the depths of his heart disappeared completely. Guo Pai could not help but shake his head. The plague must have broken out somewhere in Huaxia. Now he just had to wait for Kai Tianyang's call. At noon, Guo Pai's phone rang. The students in Bugyaku and a group of Chinese physicians from Beijing and Wu Castle were busy sorting and screening Chinese medicine. Little bad, suspected infected people have appeared in Yizhou, Xinhua, and Bo City this morning. It seems to be more serious this time. The suspected infected people were injected at the hospital at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they've been unconscious for 5 hours. The hospital can't find out the reason, and they suspect that they've been infected with the plague, Kai Tianyang said softly on the other end of the phone. Got it. Guo Pai only said 3 words and hung up. Chunjiati, Lu Yaoshi, follow me to Yizhou. Li Yu, Chao Qingquan, and Su Tu, the 3 of you go to Xinhua. Hemo, Yuer, and Lu Feng, the 3 of you go to Bo City. When you arrive, tell me the situation there, Guo Pai said loudly. The rest of you, stand by in Yunhua. Call me if there's anything. 3 off-road vehicles sped out of Yunhua City's epidemic prevention base. Yizhou was about 300 kilometers away from Yunhua City. Guo Pai left the off-road vehicles to Chunjiati and Lu Yaoshi. He did not care about anything else. He found a place where there was no one around and rode on his sword, disappearing into the sky in a moment. Oh my God! Everyone says that boss is a disciple of some hidden sect. So it's true. He can actually fly on his sword just like in the game. No, after I'm done with the plague, I'll ask boss to take me in as his disciple. I want to learn how to fly on a sword. It's so cool, Chunjiati said softly. Okay, let's hurry to Yizhou, Lu Yaoshi reminded him softly. Chunjiati drove the car and rushed to Yizhou. Yuta was much more low-key than Guo Pai. Lu Feng drove while she and Hemo sat in the car. The outbreak of the epidemic was within their expectations. It was certain that people would die at the beginning. Even if they flew over now, they could not stop it from happening. I'm Guo Pai. Where's the patient? Guo Pai arrived in Yizhou in less than 10 minutes. The president of the First People's Hospital of Yizhou City personally received Guo Pai. Dingua, I've heard a lot about you. The patient is in the ICU. I'll take you there. An old man in his 60s led Guo Pai. However, the old man stopped at the entrance of the ICU. Guo Pai did not have time to say anything. He changed his clothes at the entrance and walked in without wearing a mask. Several nurses and doctors were also in the ICU. They looked at the person in front of them and found him familiar. However, they could not remember his name. You were quarantined in the ICU after you were released from the patient, right? Guopai looked at the group of people and asked softly, I know who you are. You are Guopai, the dean of the hospital in Bugyaku, a young nurse said excitedly. It's Guopai, Dean Gua. We are saved. The group of people all became excited when they heard the young nurse's voice. Stand aside. I'm going to examine them. Guopai nodded and admitted his identity. Then he said to the people around the patients, prepare the medical records of the three of them. I'll take a look at them later. After that, Guopai walked to the first bed. Patient Chen Daqiang, 31 years old. He was hospitalized because of gastroenteritis. He had convulsions early this morning and was transferred to the ICU. He passed out at 4 a.m. There are no problems with his indicators. We suspect that he is infected with the plague. A doctor said softly to Guopai. After checking Chen Daqiang's pulse, Guopai walked to the second bed. Su Shi, 31 years old. He was hospitalized because of a fracture in his left leg. He is almost recovered and is expected to be discharged in 2 days. However, he suddenly had convulsions early this morning and passed out like Chen Daqiang. Wang Zhong, 31 years old. Guopai raised his head before he could finish. You don't have to read them. They are as you guessed. They are infected with the plague. To be specific, they are infected with the plague. Guopai said softly. Dr. Guo, what about us? Are we infected as well? A nurse asked softly. Guopai asked the 4 nurses and 2 doctors in the room to line up. Guopai took turns to check their pulses. Unfortunately, all 6 of their pulses showed that they were infected. Perhaps other people would not be able to diagnose their condition, but Guopai could sense their condition through the subtle changes in their veins. Let's go. I'll give you a prescription. Take the Chinese medicine first. It should have some effect, Guopai said and walked toward the door. The 6 of them shook their heads gently. Principal Gua, we can't go out. We can't go out. I don't think the hospital director will let you go out either unless you can cure the 3 of them. One of the doctors said softly. Guopai gently opened the door, but it did not open. Outside the door, the hospital director looked at Guopai apologetically. Then, the phone in the room rang. Principal Gua, are the 3 patients infected with the plague? The hospital director asked softly. The municipal committee has ordered that everyone who has contact with the 3 patients is not allowed to leave this room. You'll have to bear with it for a while. Or, if you can cure the 3 of them, I will let you out to apologize to you in person. Bang! Guopai kicked open the entire door frame of the ICU. The hospital director outside was shocked. Guopai did not say much and walked directly to the hospital director. Call the Izhou Municipal Committee and tell them that I'm a doctor. I'm here to find a way to solve the plague. If anyone wants to play any tricks at this juncture, they can come to me directly. Also, I see that you're not young anymore. It's time for you to retire. After Guopai finished speaking, he walked straight to the Chinese medicine pharmacy. Dr. Chen, what should we do? Should we go out or stay here? A nurse asked the doctor beside her. Don't go out first. The hospital director is angry. Let's wait and see. Dr. Chen said softly. However, the nurse who recognized Guopai immediately went out of the door and ran in the direction of Guopai. The other 2 nurses also ran over. At this time, Dr. Chen and the other doctor and nurse did not care about anything else and ran over as well. Boil these Chinese medicine into 3 bowls and divide them into 3 portions. The 6 of you should take them first. Then, find a way to get a big pot so that everyone in the hospital can have a share. Be quick, Guopai said and handed a packet of Chinese medicine to Dr. Chen. Then, he nodded at the 2 Chinese medicine doctors. Guopai was very satisfied with one thing. The effect of the Chinese medicine in the hospital was not bad. The 2 Chinese medicine doctors' medical skills were not bad. At least, they had no problem in getting the medicine. Hospital Director Guopai, don't worry about getting the medicine. We have no problem. One of the Chinese medicine doctors said excitedly. The Chinese medicine pharmacy department was a department that almost no one cared about in the whole hospital. In the last hospital meeting, the pharmacy department was ready to be abolished. However, the arrival of Guo Pai made the whole pharmacy department excited. The other 4 Chinese medicine doctors who were on vacation were also on their way to the hospital. Hospital Director Guo Pai, bad news. Look outside. After staying in the Chinese medicine pharmacy department for more than 10 minutes, the hospital director hurriedly ran to Guo Pai and said loudly to Guo Pai, "Damn it, let's go out and have a look." Guo Pai opened the curtains and looked outside. The whole hospital was surrounded. A group of armed soldiers surrounded the hospital. Several people who wanted to go out were blocked. Chapter 463. Guo Pai walked out of the hospital building and went directly to the entrance of the hospital. A group of soldiers with real guns and live ammunition were guarding the entrance. Although there was a trace of nervousness on their faces, they still didn't let anyone out. "Sir, please don't make things difficult for us. Obedience is the duty of soldiers. Since our chief asked us to guard the hospital and not let anyone out, we can't let you out," a soldier said softly to an old man who was about to go out. "Who is your chief? Give me his contact information. I want to talk to him directly." Guo Pai stepped forward and said softly. He didn't mean to make things difficult for the soldier. "I'm sorry, we can't give you the phone number." Before the soldier's voice died away, Guo Pai handed over the ID card in his hand and the military ID card of the 531 Army. "Hello, Chief." The soldier saluted Guo Pai. "Please wait for a moment, Chief. I'll report to our division commander." The soldier took Guo Pai's things and ran to the command vehicle a kilometer away. "Division Commander Kong, we'll have to trouble you. It was confirmed this morning that 3 patients in the hospital were infected with the plague. In order to prevent the outbreak of the plague, we have to give up our small family and help everyone," a short middle-aged man said softly. "Secretary Ma, the commander wants me to listen to your arrangements. Since we need to quarantine them, we won't let anyone out." Kong Ziqiang, a division commander in the southern military region of Huaxia, received the order early in the morning to cooperate with the Yizhou Municipal Committee to surround the Yizhou People's Hospital. Kong Ziqiang still didn't know what was going on. "Report." A loud voice came from outside the door. Kong Ziqiang frowned. Could it be that something happened in the hospital? "Come in." "Report, Division Commander. The Division Commander of the 531 Army in the hospital wants to see you. He also gave you this ID card for you to see," the soldier said and handed the card to Kong Ziqiang. "Soldier, how can you take something from the people in the hospital? It's very likely that we'll all be infected with the plague." "Division Commander Kong, is this the soldier you brought out?" Ma Peixiang said loudly. He was no longer as polite as he had been to Kong Ziqiang just now. The plague had already made the secretary of Yizhou's municipal committee a little dizzy. "Ma Peixiang, these are my soldiers. I'm afraid that you hid something from our commander about what happened in Yizhou. Let me tell you, this token is the Dragon King's token. It belongs to the Tyrannosaurus Rex of the capital. There are no more than 3 people in Huaxia who have this token. You're in big trouble," Kong Ziqiang said as he picked up the satellite phone and walked to the hospital. "Little Kong, you should be in Yizhou now, right? What's the matter? How's the matter in Yizhou going?" An old man on the other side of the phone asked softly. "Commander, something has happened in Yizhou. According to the instructions of the Yizhou Municipal Committee, we have surrounded the Yizhou People's Hospital. However, there is someone in the hospital that we can't afford to offend," Kong Ziqiang said softly. "Is there anyone that our southern military region can't afford to offend? What's more, it's Chairman Kai's order to support Yizhou this time. Do it boldly. Don't worry about offending anyone. If you offend anyone, the southern military region will bear all the consequences," the person on the phone said loudly. "I have an officer's token here. It says Commander Guo Pai of the 531 group. It doesn't look fake. Also, he asked his soldiers to send a Dragon King's token," Kong Ziqiang said softly. What? You mean Guo Pai of the capital? And the Dragon King's token?" The person on the other side of the phone could no longer stay calm. "Hang up first. I'll ask the guys from 531 group. You go to the hospital first and communicate with Guo Pai." After the commander of the Southern Military Region hung up the phone, he dialed Liu Beijing's number. Old Zhao, why are you calling me today? There are still 4 months before the military region competition. How about it? Are you ready to get second place? Liu Beijing said with a smile. Anyone who said this would be very unhappy. Getting second place was always fighting for first place. What was the meaning of getting second place? However, in the military region competition in the past 2 years, several military regions were indeed fighting for second place. This was because the strength of 531 group was too strong. Excluding Niuming, Wei Tai, and Liu Heishan, the other group of people with the help of Byaku's elixirs were no longer comparable to ordinary soldier kings. Lao Lu, I have an urgent matter to discuss with you today. Did your 531 group have a new young division commander in recent years? Zhao Qianbin asked loudly. He had heard the name Guopai several times, but he had never seen him in person. Naturally, he had to ask the people from 531 group about this matter. A young division commander? No, it's not that easy to be a division commander. Liu Beijing said with a smile. What's the matter? Did you catch someone pretending to be a member of our 531 group? I have a military officer certificate of the 531 group in my hand. The name on it is Guopai. I just want to verify it. If not, this military officer certificate should be fake. It's okay. I'll ask Old Kong to arrest him and send him to your 531 group when I have time, Zhao Qianbin said loudly. Guopai. Wait, Old Zhao. Guopai is a member of our 531 group. Is he the division commander of our 531 group? Why did you see him? What happened? Kai Tianyang said in a meeting a few days ago that the military region should fully cooperate with the plague in Huaxia. Did your southern military region meet Little Bad? Liu Beijing said loudly. Is he really a member of your 531 group? Then why does he have a Dragon King's token that I don't know if it's real or fake? Zhao Qianbin asked. That was given to him by Xiao Wudi. It's him. Old Zhao. I'm telling you, get on good terms with Little Bad. The breakthrough of your soldier kings is a small matter to him. Don't say that I didn't tell you this time. Liu Beijing hung up the phone after saying that. Oh no, I was killed by the people of Izhou's municipal party committee this time. Zhao Qianbin rushed to the side and slapped his head hard. Then, he dialed Kong Ziqiang's number. Commander, that person called Guo Pai has returned to the hospital again. He said that if there are any changes to the plague in Izhou, we will take full responsibility. Kong Ziqiang said softly into the phone before his old commander could speak. Remove the blockade. I will arrive in Izhou in 3 hours. During this time, see if you can get in touch with that Guo Pai. If you can get in touch with him, connect me to his phone. Remember, this person is the commander of the 531 group. He has a very close relationship with the Tyrannosaurus Rex group. Don't provoke him. After saying that, Zhao Qianbin hung up the phone and got into a car that sped from the military region to Izhou. Boss, we have arrived at Xinhua. There are 3 suspected patients here, and they have been diagnosed as infected with a variant of the plague. After Chao Qianquan arrived at Xinhua, he immediately reported the situation to Guo Pai. According to the Chinese medicine, I told you, let all the people in the hospital take it first. If there are any difficulties, just call the number I told you, Guo Pai said softly. You are also called. There are 3 infected people in Bo City. There are 3 in Chao Qianquan's group. I just contacted him. There should be 3 in your group as well. 3 and 3 is a large number. Brother bad guy, I'm afraid that we are in big trouble this time, Yuer said softly. Guo Pai explained a few things to Yuer. The situation in Bo City and Xinhua was better than in Izhou. At least the local government was more supportive. It seemed that the biggest variable was in Izhou. He had made the right decision to come to Izhou. However, Yuer was right. 3 and 3 was a large number. This plague was more serious than he had imagined. Master Guo, someone is looking for you at the gate. He seems to be the commander of the southern military region. Do you want to go and have a look? Chapter 464. Guo Pai nodded gently. It seemed that his military officer certificate and the Dragon King's token had played a role. Now was not the time to argue with them. Guopai put down his work and walked straight out of the hospital. "Are you Guopai, the owner of Bugyaku in the capital?" Zhao Qianbin asked softly. "Zhao Qianbin from the southern military region. I'm really sorry. We also received a notice from above to fully cooperate with the Yizhou Municipal Committee. I didn't expect that we would offend Division Commander Gua. Division Commander Gua, do you think we should find a quiet place to talk?" He used two titles in two sentences. The owner of Bugyaku, Guopai, and Division Commander Gua. This old commander's words were watertight, but Guopai didn't give him much face. "So it's Commander Zhao. Your soldiers are very good. You don't need to find a quiet place. If you want to know the hospital, come in quickly. Otherwise, after today, the hospital will be closed. I won't allow anyone to come in," Guopai said with a smile. "Commander, it's now an isolated area. It's confirmed that someone is infected. You can't go in," Kong Ziqiang said softly. "A young man like him dares to stay in the epidemic area. Why wouldn't I, an old man who has lived for 60 or 70 years, dare? Let's go inside and talk." With that, Zhao Qianbin took a step forward and walked into the hospital. Kong Ziqiang and a few of Zhao Qianbin's guards followed him in. A smile appeared on Guo Xiao's face. "This old man is not bad. I like his temper." "What? You mean the physical condition of the 3 patients in the hospital is under control? Then I'll give the order to cancel the lockdown now," Zhao Qianbin said loudly. At this time, 2 Chinese medicine practitioners brought a plate with hot Chinese medicine on it. Everyone who came in from the outside had a cup each. They looked at each other and drank the Chinese medicine directly into their stomachs. The lockdown has just begun. There is no problem in the hospital. The problem is outside the hospital. Within 3 days, Yizhou will be in chaos. Guopai said softly. 3 by 3 was a large number. Guopai was basically sure that the epidemic would break out in Yizhou. A storm in the city? Does Division Commander Guo mean that there are still infected people in Yizhou City? Will there be a plague in Yizhou? Zhao Qianbin immediately stood up. The young man in front of him didn't seem to be lying. If there was really a plague in Yizhou, what would happen to the soldiers sent by the southern military region? The Chinese medicine that can temporarily control the plague has been developed. However, if there's a large-scale outbreak, these Chinese medicine won't be of much use. In addition, if there's a large-scale outbreak, it is very likely that there will be a new round of mutation of the plague. When that time comes, not only Yizhou, but also the entire Huaxia, it will be a disaster. Even the gods will find it difficult to deal with this plague, Guopai said softly. Zhao Qianbin squatted down on the stool. He never thought that the Plagueany province would be so serious. "I need time to control the Plagueany prefecture. However, if a large-scale plague really breaks out, the emotions of the infected people will not be like this. By then, it will be impossible to find a quiet environment and find someone to test the medicine on," Guopai said again. "Guopai, how long do you need to develop a special medicine to control the plague?" "I will think of a way to deal with the situation in Yizhou." Zhao Qianbin thought for a while and stood up. "After the outbreak, I will need 81 patients to test the medicine. They must be 31 years old. As for how long it will take to develop a new medicine, I can't guarantee," Guopai said softly. "I will deal with the personnel. 1 week. I will find a way to buy you a week after the outbreak. I hope you can develop a special medicine this time. I don't ask for anything else. I just hope that the soldiers I brought will be fine." After Zhao Qianbin finished speaking, he strode out. Guopai nodded slightly. This old man was not bad. At least he was good to his own people. After a sleepless night, Guopai could not sleep. Several pharmaceutical doctors also worked together with Guopai. Concocting medicine was different from refining pills. Although they knew the cause of the plague, in order to concoct the best solution, in addition to medical skills, they also needed some luck. "Boss, how are things on your side?" "Xinhua, since last night, the hospital has sent 36 people suspected of being infected. Just now, Liu, Su too, and I checked their pulses. They're confirmed to be infected. Liu's condition is not good. Although he took Chinese medicine before coming, His pulse was unstable yesterday. Chow Chinquan called Guopai early in the morning. Guopai frowned. Add these herbs to Li Yu's Chinese medicine. Take it twice a day. If anything happens, inform me immediately. Guopai said softly. September 9th. Guopai guessed correctly. Li Yu's birthday was also September 9th. This time, the first people to be infected were all born on September 9th. Bad guy bro. As of this morning, 143 people in Bo City have been confirmed to be infected with the plague. All the infected people have taken Chinese medicine. There are some effects, but the effect is not obvious. After Chow Chinquan hung up, you were called. The number of infected people was much higher than Xinhua. Guopai could not sit still. The hospital director hurriedly ran to the pharmaceutical department and looked at Guopai, whose eyes were bloodshot, and asked softly, Master Guo, there are nearly 100 patients outside the hospital. They're all in the hospital's field. Commander Zhao asked people to surround them. What do you think we should do? Vacate the easternmost building and let all the patients go there first. Guopai thought for a moment and said softly, Fandong, decoct the 3 types of Chinese medicine that were made last night and distribute them to these diagnosed patients. Record the effects of the medicine. A Chinese medicine practitioner who had been busy following him nodded and ran out with 3 big bags. Little bad bro, what's the situation outside now? The origin of evil has been very active recently. Senior Shui has strengthened the seal formation. However, if the plague is not solved well, the origin of evil will become stronger and stronger. Senior Shui said that if the origin of evil breaks the formation, not only Huaxia, but the entire earth will become a ghost town. Guo Fanyu dialed Guopai's phone. Guopai did not say much to his aunt and hung up directly. Sister, that mind-reading sage is in great trouble. Do you need me to go to the mortal world to help him? Above the moon palace, Sun Wukong had already woken up from his coma. The strength of the 12th heaven allowed the heavenly court to have another certified primordial Tao warrior. Chong, he once again scolded Wu Gang and Yang Jian fiercely. The two of them could not say anything. In the past, they were like Sun Wukong. Now that he had broken through, and they had not, what else could they say? It's a great disaster, but it's also a great blessing. Let's talk about it later. Even if you need help from a mortal world, it doesn't seem to be up to us, the Dark Knight Army. Chong, he said with a smile, with the rootless stone, it shouldn't be difficult for you to break through the 14th heaven in 10,000 years. Sister, it's easy for you to say. If I want to break through the 14th heaven, I'll have to rely on your help. Open the path of merit and let the monkey walk again. I should be able to break through the 14th heaven, Sun Wukong said with a smile. Cough, cough, cough. Monkey, you think too much. Back then, you followed the golden cicada on the journey to the west. If you open the path of merit, it should be our turn this time. You'd better stay aside, Wu Gang and Yang Jian said at the same time. Sun Wukong waved his hand, and the 3 of them were directly driven out by Chong, mind-reading sage. There will be great merit for you to solve this plague. A group of people are watching. Don't let me down. Chapter 465. The plague was highly contagious. In just 2 days, more than 10,000 people had been infected in Yizhou. Everyone in Huaxia was in a state of panic. Jia Yuan, follow the last formula I gave you and speed up the production of the medicine. Don't worry about Yizhou for now. The surrounding counties and cities must be covered within a week. Guopai called his second brother. This time, he didn't even call him second brother. Jia Yuan knew the seriousness of the matter. Fourth brother, according to the current consumption rate, the herbs collected from all over Huaxia can last for about 2 months. A few common herbs can last for at most a month. Do you need to import some herbs from other countries? Jia Yuan reminded him softly. Use Huaxia first. If it's not enough, I'll think of something. Guopai hung up the phone. The first few infected patients were treated with different herbs. Guopai had developed the latest anti-plague medicine according to the treatment. However, he didn't dare to mass-produce it now because he could feel that the plague was still mutating. Little bad, I have bad news to tell you. The plague symptoms you mentioned have appeared in 7 prefecture-level cities in Huaxia. There's a suspected case of infection in Wu Castle. On the morning of the 3rd day, Guopai received a call from Kai Tianyang. The thing that worried Guopai the most had happened. The plague had begun to spread. Isolate all infected people. We don't have more manpower to disperse to other places. Guopai couldn't help but shake his head. Did he really have to ask the heavenly court for help? As he thought about it, a talisman appeared in his hand. As long as he set up a formation on the talisman and threw it into the sky, the heavenly court would send a heavenly doctor down. Everyone had their own selfish motives. If the heavenly doctor came down, all his recent efforts would belong to the heavenly court. Haha, this mind-reading perfected Lord wants to get rid of the source of evil completely. A man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. How can such a great merit be obtained by him alone? In the Lingxiao Palace of the Golden Arches, the Jade Emperor said with a smile. All the immortals below nodded, but there were a few who couldn't help but shake their heads. Taishan Laojun, go and contact Gautama Buddha first. Our heavenly court can't take all of this merit. Let Gautama Buddha prepare 10 Buddhist doctors first. Then go and find 10 heavenly doctors. I reckon mind-reading perfected Lord won't be able to hold on for another 7 days in the mortal world, Jade Emperor said with a smile. Taishan Laojun nodded. Bad guy, bro. Bo City can't hold on any longer. However, isn't it strange that after the entire city was infected, there were no deaths? Yuer said softly. No death? If there's no death, there's still a chance. Yuer, don't come back first. I'll think of a way. If it doesn't work, I'll report what happened in the human world to the heavenly court. The Jade Emperor is probably waiting for me to report it. Guopai hung up the phone and turned on his computer. A map of Huaxia appeared in front of him. Izhou, Bo City, Xinhua, 31 years old, September 9th, the number of 3s. Guopai muttered slowly. Several students who had been in Izhou for a few days stood behind Guopai without saying anything. Izhou. 7 of the 9 counties in Izhou have been infected on a large scale. Although there were infected people in and out of Fan County and Suzhou County, there were no infections. Then there's Izhou People's Hospital. The earliest infected area has basically solved the infection problem. Guopai's pen quickly drew horizontal and vertical lines on the paper. The group of students didn't understand, but they didn't say anything. I know. The next place with a large-scale infection should be in the northwest, Jingyun City. Xinjiadi, help me find a phone number of Jingyun City's municipal committee. Help me find a secretary of their municipal committee directly. Guopai said excitedly. Xinjiadi didn't stay idle either. The satellite phone was broadcasted. In about 2 minutes, the call was connected. Hello, Master Gua. I'm Li Bo, the secretary of Jingyun City. How can I help you? The matter of Guopai and his Bugyaku resisting the plague was no longer a secret in Huaxia. Kai Tianyang had personally ordered that all the officials in Huaxia must fully cooperate with Guopai. Li Bo was naturally no exception. After midnight tonight, there will be a large-scale plague in Jingyun. I just saw the situation in Jingyun City. You asked people to set up an isolation area in the northernmost building area of Jingyun. All the infected people will go to the isolation area. Guopai said softly. Master Gua, we don't have a single infected person in Jingyun. Will there be a large-scale infection in Jingyun? Where did this news come from? Is it reliable? Li Bo frowned and asked softly. Do it. The medicine of the great doctor will be sent to Jingyun tomorrow morning. Tell all the infected people not to panic. Nothing will happen. After Guopai finished speaking, he said a few more words to Li Bo. Then, he made a few more phone calls. The situation was similar to Jingyun. The final result of this battle against the source of evil will be seen in 3 days. If it doesn't work, I, Guopai, will not monopolize this merit. The heavenly doctors will descend. Guopai said softly after he finished his work. For the whole afternoon, Guopai rarely had free time. He made some food and had a sumptuous dinner with the students in Bugyaku. Then, he told the students to rest well and wait for midnight. Boss, you wrote a lot of things on the paper this morning. We thought about it for a long time, but we didn't understand. What do you mean by those things? Could it be related to resisting the plague? Chunjati couldn't help but ask. After 3 days, if the plague is resolved, I will explain it to you. In the future, there will be no more plagues in Huaxia. Guopai said softly. Chunjati nodded. Bugyaku had 100% trust in Guopai. Hello, can I trouble you to call Guopai, Master Gua? This is Li Bo from Jingyan. Just after midnight, Guopai's satellite phone rang. Secretary Li, what's the situation in Jingyan now? Guopai asked softly. He just divined that Li Bo's call would come. However, he needed Li Bo to tell him the specific situation. After you told me this morning, I notified the whole city. Now, there are a total of 81 suspected infected people in hospital. All of them have been sent to the north of Jingyan. I don't know what we should do next. Master Gua, you must save Jingyan, Li Bo said nervously. Wait for the medicine from the great doctor to be sent to Jingyan. Let the 81 patients take the medicine. Let all the doctors and family members who are in contact with the infected take the medicine. If there are any more infected people, all of them will be sent to the north of Jingyan. Don't panic. Since I can calculate that something happened to Jingyun, I have a way to solve it. Guopai said loudly. There are suspected infected people in Jizhou. We have done according to your instructions. There are infected people in Du City. We have dealt with them. Since the wee hours of the morning, Guopau's phone had not stopped ringing. When the phone stopped ringing, Guopau's mouth revealed a rare smile. Auntie, this is a little bad. What's the situation with the source of evil? Guopai directly dialed Guo Fanyu's phone and asked with a smile. It's strange. Yesterday, the source of evil was very active. Just before you called, the source of evil seemed to be trying to break the formation in the pool. However, it is much more obedient now. Guo Fanyu said softly. Annie, this guy will definitely be active in the morning. Just let him do what he wants. Don't worry about him. I want to see if he can do it until the next hour. Guopao hung up the phone after saying that. Guopai, there's a large-scale infection in Wu Castle. All the infected people are in Bugyaku. When the time came, Guopai received a call from Bugyaku in Wu Castle. The plague had broken out in Wu Castle. Guopai laughed. Old Master Lin, are there only 81 infected people in Wu Castle? Don't worry, there won't be any more infections. Jia Yuan's medicine will be sent to Wu Castle in 3 hours. Let the patients take the medicine and wait. Guopai said with a smile. Lin Shantian was confused. Was there a need to count the number of infected people? Little bad. Aren't you an Izhou? Why are you here? The situation in Huaxia is not good. There are more than 70 cities that have been infected. More than 1 million people have been infected. Guopai said softly when he arrived at the place where the source of evil was sealed in Beijiang. If I don't deal with him, how am I going to deal with the plague? No wonder the heavenly doctor didn't get much merit back then. God, don't tell me you've taken all the merit for yourself. With that said, Guo Shuai held the water-repelling bead in his mouth and broke through the formation to jump into the pool. Chapter 466. Qiu Daoyuan and Li Shixin exchanged glances before turning to look at Guofanyu. Naturally, Guofanyu had no idea what was going on either. However, Shui Yunzi, who was inside Guofanyu's body, spoke a few words to calm everyone down. Everything in the world has a cause and effect. Since the true Lord dared to jump into the pool, he should have absolute confidence. The true Lord doesn't seem like a brainless person. Shui Yunzi smiled. The eruption of the origin of evil can no longer be stopped. The true Lord must have found a way to control the origin of evil by jumping into the array. Shui Yunzi's guess was correct. Guopai was not a rash person. He had indeed found a way to deal with the origin of evil. At the bottom of the pool, the origin of evil once again transformed into a little boy and looked at Guopai with a smug look. Human, no. I should call you Ascendant Immortal. Are you seeking death by coming here to look for me? Or are you pleading with me? You can't deal with the situation outside, can you? Ha ha ha. The little boy laughed. Keep up the act. If not for the fact that this young master's research on array formations has improved to a higher level, I would have really been fooled by you this time. Who would have thought that even though the source of evil was said to be so scary, it was actually just scaring itself? Guopao found a place in the depths of the pool where he could lean on it and spoke softly. Human, I don't know what you're talking about. Since you're here, let's see how I'll deal with you today. The origin of evil roared, and the entire pool began to tremble. Guopai could even clearly feel the aura of death rushing towards him. No, this is an illusion. Everything is an illusion. The origin of evil has spent all its energy on dealing with the plague outside. It can't possibly have this kind of power. Guopai slowly closed his eyes and allowed the pressure of the origin of evil to fall on his body. Human, death or submission. You have no other choice. The origin of evil turned from a little boy into an ugly man and shouted at Guopai. Go on. Don't tell me that you only have pressure. Kill me. If you don't kill me, I'll seal you up completely. After saying that, Guopai roared out from the water, and the coercive atmosphere of power that the source of sin was exerting on him disappeared. Next, Guopai walked towards the source of sin. Sir, why do you have to be so cruel to me? Look at me. Don't I look beautiful? The ugly man turned into a naked beauty. However, Guopai didn't show any signs of absent-mindedness. He walked towards the woman step by step. Arg! No, impossible. No one has known our secret for so many years. How could a banished immortal like you know about it? Impossible. The source of evil could not help but roar as it watched Guopai approach it step by step. I thought that sealing you in this pool would cut off your connection with the outside world, but it seems we were wrong. You are in this world, in the same plane as us. We can't stop the plague from happening. Now, I have to find another place for you. After saying that, Guopai placed the jade core in his hand around the source of evil. Next, the source of evil was completely separated from the pool of water. No, you cannot do this. I descended here to comply with the heavenly Tao. You are going against the heavenly Tao. You cannot do this. The source of evil shouted. Next, however, the Laojun gourd on Guopai's way shone with a seven-colored light, and the source of evil disappeared into the pool of water. The moment the source of evil disappeared, Guopai crouched down on the ground. Next, the two jades, one black and one white, slowly floated over to him. The yin-yang twin-life jades were no longer needed to suppress the source of evil. Thus, they returned to Guopai's hand. However, Guopai was not in a good state. Although the coercive atmosphere of power from the source of evil had failed to harm him, in order to resist the coercive atmosphere, Guopai had to expend a considerable amount of his divine sense. The source of evil is gone. Xiao Daoyuan and Li Shixin were outside the pool of water. The moment the source of evil disappeared, the two of them exchanged glances. Indeed, the source of evil had disappeared. They could no longer sense any trace of the source of evil's aura outside the cave. Where is Little Bad? Is Little Bad all right? Guofanyu asked anxiously. What could possibly happen to him? This kid is really lucky. Sai, why didn't I think of this? This is a huge merit. I can use this merit to build a merit body. Shui Yunzi whispered in Guofanyu's body. However, Guopai, who was at the bottom of the pool, had no idea about this. He had already entered a meditative state. Himo, I'll leave the rest to you. I'm going to look for Brother Bad Guy. Haha, today's weather is really good. Just follow the prescription that Brother Bad Guy gave you and dispense it from the hospital. Make sure that all the infected people in Bo City can drink the Chinese medicine. Jia Yuan will probably airlift the medicine here soon. After saying that, Yu did not hide this time. She stepped on a flying sword and directly disappeared in front of Himo and several Bagyaka students. So little sister Yu is also so amazing, Himo murmured. However, he quickly came back to his senses and called several Bagyaka students to start brewing the medicine. The situation in Izhou and Xinhua was similar to that in Bo City. Everyone was busy. Second brother, there's a call from Wu Castle. The medicine this time is very effective. The infected people are now out of danger after drinking the medicine. Liao directly knocked on the door of the chairman of the Imperial Capital Great Doctor Company. Jia Yuan was busy with something with his head lowered. Damn, fourth brother is really invincible. Haha, I'll leave all the Chinese medicine matters to Ling Ling. This great doctor company will also be the husband and wife's business in the future. I'll just wait for fourth brother to come back and make some good wine. Jia Yuan leaned back in his chair and said with a smile. Liao nodded. Chairman, I still can't get through to Guo Pai's phone. However, the epidemic this time is completely under control. The medicine from the great doctor is very effective. I estimate that the epidemic will be completely resolved in about a week. Li Dafu walked into Kai Tianyang's office and said with a smile. Kai Tianyang, who hadn't had a good rest for a few days, took a deep breath and nodded lightly. He then dialed Guo Pai's phone again. However, there was still no answer. If he can't get through, then so be it. When he returns to Daidu, we'll hold a celebration party for him. Kai Tianyang said excitedly. Guo Pai had saved Huaxia. He was the great doctor, the country's doctor. Commander Zhao, there's no need to look. Our boss didn't come. He probably went straight back to Daidu. If you really need anything, you could go to Daidu to look for him. Chun Jiadi didn't know how many times he had told Commander Zhao in the southern military region. Commander Zhao still came to see if Guo Pai was back on time 3 times a day. Okay, I'll go to Daidu to wait for him. I'll also meet a few old guys. Zhao Qianbin directly took a plane and flew to Daidu. Outside the cave in Beijiang, a group of people surrounded the entrance. 7 days. It had been 7 days, but there was no movement inside. Yu and Shui Yunzi's telepathic messages didn't get any response. Guo Pai did something to the formation. Yu followed Shui Yunzi's instructions to break the formation, but she couldn't break it. The only thing they could do now was to wait. A call from Yinhua City? What's the matter? Chun Jiadi's phone rang. He couldn't help but ask. Little Dr. Chun, something happened in Yinhua again. Please come again. Yinhua City Secretary Chu, he said nervously. Something happened in Yinhua again. Chun Jiadi looked at the group of people and said softly. At this time, there was also movement in the pool. Guo Pai appeared in front of everyone with a smile on his face. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.